Good evening, and thank you for joining us for another edition of the London Indie Underground. Right off the top, I just want to say, I know last week we were having some technical difficulties off the top. Things got a little bit choppy, and we had to reset the feed, so I'm hoping everything goes to plan tonight. It's nice and crystal clear on your end. If not, please make sure to let us know, and we can reboot the feed just as we did last week. And I know last week we had some new listeners, first-time listeners to our podcasts. And if you're tuning in for the first time, kind of our tagline here is we are London's only independent music podcast showcasing some of our area's most talented artists, bands, and personalities. Just so you know, I read that off of my card because I screwed it up the last couple of times. But I got it now. I teed myself up here. I'm all good. So my name is Jimi James, the best-looking man you'll ever hear. Broadcasting from the Vault Recording Studio at Adelaide and Princess. Joining me this week again, my co-host Gary Begner. Gary.
Hola, Jimmy.
Thanks for the coffee.
No problem, buddy.
It's a bit of a ritual now. You're bringing coffee for me. I appreciate that.
Must have coffee.
Excellent. We're getting a text here. I think the Dyadics are here. They've arrived.
Do you think they're here?
Yeah. So Jason's going to go outside.
Jay,
and let them in.
Thanks,
awesome,
buddy. Jay. Thank you, buddy.
They've not been here yet. Our indie spotlight band for the day is the Dyadics. A little bit late getting into to the studio today. Had a bit of emergency to attend to, but they are here.
Two-piece band. Sound like a million guys on stage.
They certainly do. We're going to be spinning some tracks of theirs at the top of the hour, about 8 o'clock. And also joining us today, our guest co-host for the day, Mr. Joel Krass.
Woo! Woo!
Thanks for coming.
I'm stoked, Jimmy. I had the best week. I can't wait to tell you all about it.
So you drive in from Peterborough?
No, I drove in from Toronto today. I was in Toronto this week. Had a wonderful jam with Marty Ballantyne, former frontman of Breach of Trust, and a tremendously talented young guitarist and vocalist named George Leach. And I just can't wait to share with you all of the things I have to share.
You brought some notes, too.
I've got so much sharing.
Binders full of women.
If you can feel the sharing, that's right, Mr. Clinton. Not only did I bring you music, not only did I bring you stories and wisdom, but we got a lot of information to impart to young bands trying to navigate this crazy world called love. A lot of discussion on how to strategically orient yourselves in the business, resources that are available to you, and how to build a scene in your local community and create an enduring project that will stand the test of time, like our love has.
Incredible, man. I appreciate you taking the time. I mean, clearly you've prepared for this.
We've got a lot of people to help and a lot of lives to touch, Jimmy.
Said Michael Jackson.
I like it. Yeah. I like it. Actually, also joined today and mic'd up for the first time, I'm quite pleased, is a good friend of mine, Mr. Steve Poulin, who's one of our sponsors at the Submission Academy Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Steve, thanks for sitting in on our podcast today.
Hello. I don't have cue cards or anything, so I have nothing to add to that.
Come as you are, man. That's all we expect.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're going to get we should get some music so we can get the Dyadics settled here. Gentlemen, how are you? We're live on the air, so if you want to bear with me for a second, we're just going to throw to some music, and we'll get this thing going. So, first track you brought.
The first track I brought, and it's a bit of a long story, but let's just spin the track, and we'll talk about after the fact. This is a guy named George Leach, who's from LIUG, BC. In British Columbia. I saw him headline part of the Imaginative Festival on Saturday at Lee's Palace, and a good friend of mine, Marty Ballantyne, who we'll talk about a little later, was backing him up. He invited me out to the show, saw the guy play, talked to them after the set. They came in, jammed with us back in our jam hole on Monday night. So this is George's second album. This is the first single off his new album called Surrender. His first release was in 2000 called Just Where I'm From. He's playing November 10th at the Blue Feather Music Festival all the way in Whitehorse. So believe me, this guy travels. So he'll be everywhere and anywhere anytime soon. He's phenomenally talented. Give the track a spin. And,
we checked it out earlier. Great sounds. And there's a little story behind it, too. We'll get to that in a little bit. All right, so this is Carry Me by George Leach on London Indie Underground.
Shackles on my feet, undeny everything I see. Strip
Carry Me by George Leach on the London Indie Underground from the album Surrender.
And tell me that guy does not have a dynamite voice, man.
He certainly does.
You would not believe it. Like, this is a very restrained song. We were talking off air about sort of the art of restraint. The real test to me as a musician, and having had him come into our jam space on Monday, is, if you love music and you love making music, you don't miss an opportunity to do it. And George and Marty are just the kind of guys that I'm lucky to have friends like this, where you can call them up. And even though they're in a strange town, I had never met George before. He came in and dominated our practice. I've never been happier to get served my whole life. Yes, may I have another. Unbelievable. He shows so much restraint in that song. I'm telling you, this is a dangerous, dangerous man, and he can play like a motherfucker. And if he is not a household name in this country in the next 5 years, then there's something wrong with our system and how we promote artists.
And so obviously you were familiar with him before the show, right?
No, I had never met George Leach before. Wow. I'd never heard of George Leach before. His first album came out in 2000, so you think I would, because my first album came out in 2000 as well. And we were doing a cross-country tour with a band called Breach of Trust, which was fronted by a guy named Marty Ballantyne, who is from Laurent, Saskatchewan. They formed in '94. 2 albums of theirs you should check out: Songs for Dying Nations and Breach of Trust. They had a couple. They were signed to EMI at the time, Canadian group. A lot of great hits: Disease, Complicated, Who Am I, Bad Trip. Anyway, we were fast friends, sight unseen, the first day of that tour with Breach. And Marty is a guy who, I'm going to embarrass Marty, because when I spent time with him on Monday, he wouldn't let me embarrass him. He'd always turn the embarrassment on me. So if I tried to play his music, he'd pop the record out and put mine in. Things like that. So I'm going to embarrass the shit out of Marty now. This jam was 4.5 hours long, this epic Monday nighter. And it got to the point where by the end of it, we're just putting shit in Marty's hands to see what he can do with it. Because he not only sang and played guitar, he played bass, he played keys, there was a ukulele that after you took it out of his hands, I swear to God, this ukulele was looking for a cigarette, because it had just been musically fucked in every way that you would, like, it was the most satisfied looking ukulele you've ever seen.
It was a bass.
Unbelievable set. Like, he was banging out Purple Rain, like, you name it. Any song in the world, he knew it. And then we get in the car, and he knows every word to Frank Zappa's Shake Your Booty. Like, he's just one of these guys that's so talented that when the Olympics were in Vancouver, I wrote him a very long email yelling at him about why he wasn't on my television. I was blaming him for it because he's that good. And the best thing about him is that it's not about his ability to perform and to sing and to play. It's that he's a guy who takes it with so much responsibility, and the message that he conveys. He never takes the mic for granted, the audience for granted, and the reach for granted. His lyrics are thoughtful. They describe the human condition, his own condition, our nation's condition. He doesn't miss an opportunity to make something meaningful. And that, to me, is one of the biggest things that we've lost as artists, is sort of a responsibility that when we have reach, to use it.
I'd have to agree with you. Although I can't say that I've had any significant reach myself, but
No.
Well, I'm telling you, do yourself a favor, go and check out the Breach of Trust back catalog.
you brought a couple discs for me, actually.
I did, and you'll love them.
Well, I remember back in the day, and you were on tour with them when
That's
you guys
right.
were playing with Headstrong, right? And so the name had popped up, but I really hadn't give them much of a look. But yeah, well, I mean, after everything,
It's criminal that they are not still in constant rotation across Canadian media. Like, we have a lot of programs that support our own artists, and we do make an effort to grow from home. But just it frustrates me to no end to know that guys like this are out there, and Bieber's a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
It's true, man. We've had some discussions in the previous weeks and had showcased some musicians that, had failed, not necessarily through any fault of their own, but if you're electing not to pursue and utilize your talents, then I guess you get what you give. And one of the examples, and the utmost respect, but Chad Michael Stewart from Machete Avenue was an artist that we had featured on a previous podcast. And I mean, this guy at one point was signed, had a tour ahead of him with lights, and really the path was kind of laid out for him. And I don't know if maybe he, just got scared, or, he was just not ready to take that path yet. But even still, I mean, if you're not going to take the opportunities that are there, it doesn't mean you have to kind of hole yourself up and really cut yourself off musically and artistically. And so, people have been pining for him to put something out. And I would love to be able to feature him and have him come into the studio, but he's one of those guys that he's delicate genius,
Not everyone's a prolific songwriter, though, too, right? A lot of people write those 10 songs that are so awesome, but they did that over 5 years,
right?
And it's like maybe 5 years from now he comes and blows your fucking mind again.
I can only hope, man. I can only hope.
Headstrong's, how do you describe it? Glacial was
glacial
our songwriting process. Glacial at best. Like really, like 2 records every 5 years, like 2 records every 10 years. Marty is not a guy like that. Like, I don't even like to use the word, hear the word failure and Marty in the same sentence. When the music industry digitized,
that's relative, though.
Of course, I know. When the music industry changed over the last 15 years, and we know it had, period of creative destruction brought on by changing market forces. 1, influence of technology. 2, changing consumer tastes. So, you couldn't go into Dr. Disc and walk out with 165 records. But you can with the internet.
Right.
So everything changed.
With a single cut from each one if you want.
Absolutely, yeah. And pick and choose. So it wasn't even that. It's more that when the industry collapses and there is a consolidation within the industry, the natural response of mass media and of broadcasters is to take less risk. Mm-hmm. And how do we take less risks? We muzzle artists. People that were saying things that could be controversial. People that are saying things that maybe make you uncomfortable. Are taken out of the equation, and it's baby, 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 yeah. And we just put more of that up to the front because we know
shit floats.
Yeah, exactly. Shit floats.
So,
and we live in a land of shiny turds that they can't get the smell off of.
The thing is, integrity doesn't sell records. You know what I mean? Like, you get to a point where you make that choice. Like you said with Chad, he could dress up and take a million pictures and say all the right things and do all the right things, but if every day you're sitting there going like fuck my life,
well, that's
you're going then it's
that's an interesting
notion. You're not successful
but
then.
That ties into sort of one of the big things I want to talk about today is strategy, because if integrity doesn't sell records, then it's not your strategy to make records with integrity. You know what I mean? If you want to succeed and you define the terms of your success by record sales, you are leading yourself down a path of compromise. But if you want to have a career that you control and define, nothing stops you from making music to the distance of people's ears and your audience's ears. You can do it in clubs, you can do it in local tours. You do it with the resources you have. And strategy isn't tactics. Strategy is understanding how you compete, aligning your resources so that they're optimized, and having measurable goals to achieve. And there's 2 different paths to take. The path of greater notoriety and success through sales, and by plugging yourself into the majors and taking 7% of your own enterprise, or legging it out as an independent artist, and much of what obviously this is an independent podcast, and not making those compromises and keeping 100% of what you do and saying exactly what you want to say and never dumbing it down.
And having them come to you in the end when it's on your terms as well.
Well, which sometimes happens, but a lot of times doesn't.
Yeah.
The thing is, right, you have to play to the market. You can be the best band, but if you're the best metal band in the grunge era, you're laughed at, right?
Oh, yeah, completely.
Look at Guns N' Roses in '95. You'd be like, fuck Guns N' Roses. What a bunch of homos. But now you look back and you go like, man, that band was the bomb. But in '95, if you said that, you'd be like, pfft.
Yeah.
Well, there was a whole scene too.
Timing is everything.
Seems like markets and little pockets that support that type of music, right? And that's the reach isn't necessarily expansive beyond that, right? And local support, there's a lot to be said for that. But some great conversation. Obviously, I'm prepared for this today because I think this is going to go pretty deep. But having said that, I think we should get to some music, Joel. And as a matter of fact, with your permission, I'd like to spin a Headstrong song.
Please.
Yeah, you brought me some unreleased stuff here.
I brought a few weeks ago. I brought Jimmy about 9 songs that never saw the light of day. After RCA was bought by J Records and we were sent packing as the last guys. When you're the Canadians in the United States and Napster hits, the Canadians go home. So these were 9. I sent them 9 tunes that never saw the light of day, and we'll spin one of them now. And this one is called False Start, and this one our fans did not like. And we knew we were on the right path when our fans didn't like this song, because every band goes through a period where you have some success, you attract fans, but you grow, and you grow faster than your audience does, because these songs are old to you by the time they've heard them.
Yeah.
So you can sort of tell that you're making progress in a way in your writing when you start to alienate those people that were there in the last record.
Yep.
And,
Or at least some of them.
Some of them. It takes them time to adjust. They want more of the same, but as an artist, you're not always wanting to give them more of the same.
Well, you're always hoping to get the people that want to grow with you,
Exactly.
not the people that take the first album and go,
Yeah.
just give me 6 more of these and
Yeah,
we're good.
exactly.
You know,
And of course you want them to grow with you. Of course you want them to come for the ride, but you can't put them on the bus. You know what I mean?
yeah, you're always going to lose. Radiohead doesn't sell 8 million records anymore.
Right,
You
right.
know, they
Yeah.
slowly strip that down
Yeah.
to like take it or leave it. We're
Absolutely
rich,
right.
fuck yourself.
All right, well, let's check out this track. This is False Start by Headstrong here on London Indie Underground.
I've seen the obelisk, wait for the pawn. Where have you gone, Ricardo Montalban? I've seen the aftermath of the afterglow. I've seen the underside of the underdog, and his heart had a false start. And the fire was ignited. Since you've been proving I'm late, your word will nothing obey. There's just one truth I will say, this happens every day. I've seen the alternate, it gives me pause.
Headstrong with False Start here on London Indie Underground. That was some previously unreleased stuff that Joel was nice enough to bring to us. And
Those have a strong London connection because, as we were talking off air, the guy who's always the pokeroo of this program, the mythical Dan Broadbeck, put those together for us, mixed and engineered and produced those for us.
at EMAC Studio here
At
in town.
EMAC Studios in probably about 2003.
That was the first time I had ever heard the name Dan Broadbeck. Well, actually, no, that's not true because he previously had worked with Zool's Evil Disco, which obviously we know Ajay quite well. But his first major production, I guess, was when I had heard about Dan and wanted to check out what was going on in EMAC.
But closer tie, he had worked on the Gandharva's record probably almost a decade before he had worked with us in this very room.
No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
a sticker or some shit
Yeah.
on the
That's
bathroom,
why that's
right?
the- he knew it. I just tweeted him. I don't usually take pictures in bathrooms, but I saw that Gandharva sticker. I had to send it to Dan, and he was like, "Oh my God, I know that urinal."
Yeah, I did see that. tweet,
Indelible memories.
I'd love to get Dan here. I sent him an email, and hopefully he'll reply. It'd be great to have him as a guest down here because I can only imagine the stories that he would tell. And to your point, I mean, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, we talked about this before. It all seems to come around to Dan, and he's been involved in so many of the projects here in this town and is obviously a huge reach there. I'd like to kind of shift gears here for a second. I know we've, Dyadics, you guys were a little bit late rolling in here, and it was kind of a sad story as to the reason why you were. What happened?
Yeah, I played a show on Saturday night with my wife. We're in a duo called the Marrieds, and we went out and did a show, and I left my acoustic guitar at the Blackshire pub. So we went to see if it was still there, and it's not there. So if you see a white Yamaha acoustic, Dave Navarro guitar, it's mine.
Are you putting up posters, like Lost Kitty style
I
posters
should.
around the?
I'm going to do anything
neighborhood?
to get the guitar back. It's like one of the ones in my dreams, so I'm a little bit on the depressed side of life right now.
Man, that's like losing a child. I mean, let's be real here.
I don't
Love is
have
a
any,
drag.
so it's definitely like losing a child for me. Yeah.
Gary, you have 29 children, so I mean, if you lost one, I'd suppose it, wouldn't
And
be so
you know what? Any one except for the Les Paul Jr.
That's
if
the baby.
If the white SG Les Paul Jr. went, I'd be just like all the other ones can go. That's the only.
Well, I'll take them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Kev's seen them all.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah.
And there's a lesson in this, right? Like anybody who gigs regularly
Dummy
or is on
check.
crew,
Yeah.
dummy
Yeah.
check.
And this
Last
is
thing
the
you do before you go
only-
home.
Only time.
Yeah, that you haven't done it. Yeah.
That's
your
what
dummy
happens.
check.
You don't dummy check, and
And if
That's
people
why
are
it's called
wondering,
a dummy check.
why is it called a dummy check? You
Because-
I don't know.
because of
dummy.
me. Yeah.
No, you're not.
People like me.
There it is.
You're not. Yeah, Kev. We were in.
Brutal.
We were playing in Calgary, and our drummer basically packed up. We left the club, all that stuff. Get to the next show, and then realized that he fucking left his trunk with all his hardware, like in
Wow.
Calgary. And
Oh
we
my
called
God.
back. And, yeah, no, it's not here, man.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, where'd it go? Kind of deal. They just hit the. That's a little different. Your Navarro guitar. We should be able to track it down somehow.
Yeah, it's pretty unique.
Yeah, it's a unique
Did
guitar.
you
not
get
a
a
lot-
chip in the ears?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get them chipped,
Yeah.
and then you can track them.
Yeah, right up under the old. But yeah, so
I do. I have one inside the guitar.
Do you?
I just haven't checked out the. No, I don't.
You got an app
GPS
for that?
coordinates.
Yeah, I have an
Yeah.
app for that. Yeah.
Find my guitar.
But I do know there's specific things about it, so I will be able to tell. But I have to find it first,
Well, I hope it turns up, dude.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you.
That's rough.
The Dan Broadbeck thing that we were talking about, we have a Dan Broadbeck connection because he actually,
See?
yeah,
There it
yeah.
is. Did you
Well,
play
Small
hockey with
world.
him?
No, no. But the first track that we were going to record on our first release, Dan did a mix for us and demoed it for us because we were thinking of getting him to mix the record. So we were bouncing stuff off him. We actually went to a Jack Richardson Award thing, just like a listening panel. And Dan Broadbeck was one of the guys, so he was listening to the mix, and we sent him the track, and he did a mix of one of the tunes. Get Up. Yeah, so
And
that's
you were-
our Dan Broadbeck
You were
connection.
thrilled with it, of course.
We were. It was good, yeah. And Dan's a good guy, and we talked to him, and yeah, still talk to him. But we ended up getting Matt to mix it in-house, so it just worked out better for us financially at that point, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, same here. I had Dan. He did some drum tracks for me at EMAC. But when you can produce it yourself and you're on your own dime, you don't have to worry about the clock so much, right?
You
And
can't all get the
a
special
guy like
nice guy
that,
rate.
Dan's not, he's not going to do some pro bono work for you.
And you're in a magic room here, right?
That's right.
Very
Your
magical.
drum tracks have
I
been
don't know,
bomb
man.
here, and
Maybe the
obviously Ian Jarvis
Junos,
jammed
the
here.
Junos have softened Dan a little bit. Maybe now he feels the need
To give back.
to
the
give
community.
back.
Maybe.
I doubt it.
Is that how that works?
You know what? He was always good to us. In fact, there was oftentimes in the earlier days when you'd see an invoice and it would have hours and then it would say special nice guy rate on it, like things like that. So he always gave the guys a break when he knew that there was a long-term approach to be taken. Like, he's not a short-run guy.
No.
And that's part of why he's still in London, part of why he's still successful and contributes to the community and has taken over the MIA program over at Fanshawe, is because he's a long-run guy. He's a big-picture guy. So you're so lucky to have him here.
Yeah, I've heard that name
For
since
sure,
I've
yeah.
been in the city.
Yeah, so you're going to see him tomorrow, right?
I'm going to crash one of his classes tomorrow. I don't think he knows it. But I'm going to crash one of his classes. And I'm going to make fake fart noises in the back the whole time.
Fake fart noise.
Because there's two things about Dan, Montreal Canadiens and fart sounds. Those are the two things he loves more than anything else on earth, except for his family, maybe. But
Nah.
like when the Canadians are in the playoffs, like, I know that doesn't happen very often, ha ha ha, but he has to send his kids
I
away,
don't know.
like, because he's so into it. And fart noises, well, that's, who doesn't love fart noises?
It's the
Universal.
Salads record, Fold A to B. There's that whole montage that's at the end there. It's a hidden track
Yeah.
where they had the bathroom, the EMAC bathroom. So they set up a microphone. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, on the album is Dan taking a shit. But then also it's a bunch of fart sounds. So they set up the fart mic. And so when anybody had to fart, they would cue it up. They'd hit record, and then they'd run over to the mic and they'd fart into the
Oh,
mic.
my.
And that's not even the best part.
Hopefully
Then
that
after-
mic got
Wasn't it
retired
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's the ass mic.
Yeah. Well, the best part was after the fact, and Dave and Chuck, they do all kinds of production on the side, especially Dave Z. He's got his own little setup there. So he assembled this musical montage of all of the Salads melodies from that album, from Fold A to B, done exclusively in fart sounds. I'm
Unbelievable.
going to pull it up later, man. Why not?
I wonder if,
Why not? Because we're all
It's my
7 years
podcast,
old.
so we'll feature some Dan Broadbeck production here.
yeah, you might as well. I mean, Boombox
bit of fart
was
salad?
I think
on the
it'd be
new
hard not
Salads
to. It
record.
might be hard not to in London.
On the new Salads album, the Music Everyday record that they just recently released, and they did their live kickoff here.
Which is awesome.
Dan had mixed those tracks, and Dan and I both discussed that Boombox is far and away the best track and mix on the album. So
Is that a hint?
I would love it if you would play Boombox
Yeah, that
for
was-
me, Jimmy.
I think I could. Yeah,
That's
we
the first track I heard, and I'm like, thank you.
Isn't that
if you're
the
gonna
song?
make me wait this long, you know,
Well,
I'm
and
like,
you know
thank
what? They didn't. I mean, if you've heard Chuck's story about the album that never was, they had a whole other record finished a couple of years ago, and it was stolen. The
computer was stolen.
Oh,
computer
right,
was
right,
stolen.
right.
So it wasn't like they were starving us to create the scarcity that creates demand that we were talking about earlier. But rather they kind of got fucked. And to lose a whole record, you lost a guitar. But I mean, imagine losing a whole album.
I was pulling for them though. When I heard it, I'm just like, good on them. Because if like I mean, Jimmy's always talking about this, but if fucking Nickelback is rich, these dudes should at least be making a living.
Yeah.
You know,
These
it's like,
guys
give me a
are
break.
amongst the
And they've been grinding it out
Yep.
since I've been on the music scene. Like,
And
even going to
technically
check out
speaking,
bands. Like,
There's no one better. Like, there's no one better.
they'll
Marty
come and rock
Ballantyne,
your shit. And if
can hang
5
with the
people are
Sounds.
there, they will rock your shit.
and very few guys in the country can hang with players like these, like
That's
the kind
true.
of caliber of guys we're talking
Oh,
about.
Dave
right
Z is like the Canadian.
now. Dave Z, but Chuck D can do it all.
Yeah, well, Chuck can too. And he's
yeah.
playing with I Mother Earth now,
Oh.
which is kind of a dream gig for him.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
but Davey Z, in my opinion, he's like the Eddie Van Halen of Canada.
Totally.
He is definitely a Van Halen type.
Yeah. All right, well, let's spin this track. This
Fucking
is
A.
the Salads with Boombox on the London Indie Underground.
Turn it up, baby. Turn it up.
Everybody's jamming to the boombox, yeah. Got the boom tunes on the boombox, yeah. Get your man a scotch on the rocks and just turn up your boombox. Chilling with the boombox, yeah. Everybody's jamming to the boombox, yeah. Got the boom tunes on the boombox, yeah. Get your man a scotch on the rocks and just turn up your boombox. Hear the waves crash to the shore. When I see them break again, then I grab my board. No, I can't contain, gonna lose my brain if I can write a little more. Please let me play a little more. You know I wish I was back there again, where the summer never ends, and just kick back and play tracks for all my friends. Chilling with a boombox, yeah. Everybody's jamming to the boombox, yeah. Got the boom tunes on the boombox, yeah. Get your man a scotch on the rocks and just turn up your boombox. Chilling with a boombox, yeah. Everybody's jamming to the boombox, yeah. Got the boom tunes on the boombox, yeah. Get your man a scotch on the rocks and just turn up your boombox. We're chilling with Dylan and Molly. It's all shakedown cause it's a bar party. Go back out to rock out with Van Halen. Running with the devil on the old boombox again. And it never go wrong with some fishbone. Some old P-funk for your trunk. Always got the song. Oh, how they all shine like stars for me. Don't have to all drop big cars for me. Don't have to act all bizarre, you see. Just stay on my boombox, ride with me. Just stay on my boombox, talk to me. Just stay on my boombox. Yeah, everybody's jamming to the boombox, yeah. Got the boom tunes on the boombox, yeah. Get your man a scotch on the rocks and just turn up your boombox. Chilling with a boombox, yeah. Everybody's jamming to the boombox, yeah. Got the boom tunes on the boombox, yeah. Get your man a scotch on the rocks and just turn up your boombox. Boom, 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 yeah. Turn up your boombox. Turn up your boombox. Scotch and the rocks and just turn up your boombox.
Salads with Boombox here on the London Indie Underground. Salads are going to be doing their formal CD release party here in London, as a matter of fact.
Ooh.
Which will be at Norma Jean's.
Really?
Yeah. Which would be awesome. I've
Odd
seen
venue.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you would
I've
think
seen
they do
them
the
play
music
there.
hall or something.
I thought so too, but they booked at Norma Jean's. They played there a few times before. The supporting act is the Abandoned Souls, so it's a bit of a mash of music. The Abandoned Souls are a little bit heavier, different genre of band, but it's really cool that they'll be back so soon. Last time they were here, obviously, was for our video podcast, which is September 1st, and the album wasn't out yet, although we got some advanced copies here, and then obviously we got treated to a live performance of a bunch of the new stuff. So it'll be great to see them, live on stage. But I mean, there's something to be said for partying with them. You know what I mean? Just great dudes. Great dudes.
Absolutely, the best of the best.
They're a lot of fun. It's that's what I've always liked about them is the genuine, like, them on stage. They're acting all crazy. They're having fun, and then they come off stage, and then you're having fun all night, right?
Authenticity, right?
Yeah,
There's
for
no
sure.
substitute for authenticity.
Yeah.
And they have every ounce of it. The biggest knock on the Salads, like, all the way from the 90s when we were just meeting them, was the industry didn't know what to do with them. What are they? What do we do with these guys? How do we pigeonhole them? How do we box them in? How do we,
Yeah.
how do we control them?
It's part like South Cali ska and part
Yeah.
David Lee Roth and part
Right.
Van. You're like, what the hell?
And the answer is you don't control them. The answer is that they figure it out on their own, and that through their own talent, ingenuity, and hard work, have an enduring career without you.
Yeah.
So, I can be. If I were them, I would be absolutely thrilled with this new record.
Was it-
Boombox, Sunny Monday. These are wonderful songs.
I just
took
want to
their
see
time,
one
too.
blow right up, though. Just one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not maybe like, be the world killer or anything, but
Yeah.
these guys, like,
Yeah.
they deserve like that one. They had Get Loose or whatever. That did well,
That's really good.
that did great.
Lucky
but-
Day was a wonderful song that I don't even think was released except outside of a car ad.
No, it was released with their Band Gone Wild DVD. which was
With the DVD.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they really took their time with this album too. I mean, we've been waiting for some time to get it out, but and we mentioned before how Dan Broadbeck had done the mixing, but most of the stuff that they do now is all in-house. Dave Zimba has his own studio set up in Ajax, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's called the Mothership, and that's where they work out of. They did our theme song right off the top that you heard. So, those two guys, Chucky and Dave, just seem to really mesh together well and really bounce ideas off each other. As great as this album is, I can't wait until the next one because I hope they come right behind with something just as strong.
Well, I mean, this dovetails to something that I wanted to talk about with regards to strategy. There's a model that business schools teach called Porter's 5 Forces, and basically what it does, it describes what forces are involved in strategically examining an industry to enter, and you can apply it to music. And those forces are the power of buyers, the power of suppliers, the nature of the competition, the threat of substitutes, and the barriers to entry. And so you think about the music industry, and you say, who are the buyers? Well, the buyers are listeners, customers, audiences, distributors, things like that, retailers. These are the buyers of music. And they have an incredible amount of power in this equation because not only do customers have unlimited access to music, but they can circumvent the market entirely to acquire it. So the power of buyers is off the charts. The power of suppliers, being artists, is extremely low because you can't make someone like your music. You can't really force an audience to like you.
Power to get it out there is at an all-time high, though.
Well, okay, so
If it's shit, that's on you.
That's sort of the power of buyers. If you consider that Apple iTunes is a buyer of music and then they resell it, so the power of buyers is very high. So yes, there's a lot of capacity for distribution, but do you have control in that equation? Not really. So looking at other things, the power of substitutes, or the threat of substitutes. There's a lot of substitutes for music. Any entertainment product is a substitute for your listening time.
Well, you're fighting for dollars.
You're fighting for attention. You're fighting for minutes of airplay. Think about the nature of the competition. We know that the competition in the music industry on a mainstream level is extremely high. We know that labels have payola scandals and that they get bought out and that they, most of the conversations I ever had with RCA's president ended with, and if you tell anyone about this, we'll sue you. So, the nature of the competition is fierce, it's ruthless, and so of these 4 forces, we look at the last, which is barriers to entry. And this is where maybe there's a hope, because the barriers to entry to anyone to get in the music industry are so small, because you can sing on a street corner, and now you're in the music industry. So when you look at whether or not it's a good strategic idea to make music at all, it's a terrible fucking idea. It's the worst game in town, and it'll only get harder for you. But for guys like this, and I love that you brought up that the Salads, the way they made their new record, they've managed to, knowing these facts, take a strategic approach, which is to use some of those things in their favor. The barriers to entry are low. The ability to record is low. It's cheap to do it. The ability to distribute is easy if you use an independent platform. So as long as you reprogram yourself to get away from the old dead machine of labels and radio and things like that, and you really holistically adopt new media, in-house production, and just trust yourself and the talents you have, then there is a strategic path to success if you can draw it and navigate it.
Well, it's just a different market now. Like now you're, like YouTube. You can be a successful musician now because you have like 200 million views on YouTube. Now it's marketing. It's like you don't even have a record deal, but companies will pay to advertise on your homemade blog page because, 200 million people for some reason. You can go watch girls give makeup tips, see that like 9 million people watch that, that's a huge market.
It is a huge market.
You
I don't
sell
know
makeup?
anybody who says I got a big fat check from YouTube, but theoretically you're right.
Well, the
walked off the
marketing's
earth.
coming in, right?
Yeah.
Like you,
Yeah.
you rarely now will you start a
Variety.
video that doesn't have an ad that
Absolutely,
comes
yeah,
before it,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and like someone's making money, whether that's
Sure.
trickling
Whether it
down
trickles
to the
down to the
artist.
artist,
Once
yeah.
you
I mean,
reach-
that's been since the start of time, right?
Absolutely.
Like how many artists have you heard
Yeah.
of super successful artists that come out owing money?
And this is it. Like this is one of the things where we love the digital revolution. Everybody gets a way to be seen and be heard. But at the same time, the way we've gone is that over the last 5 years, we've essentially sold the internet to 4 or 5 companies between Facebook and Google and Microsoft and Amazon.
It happens in every industry, though. Car, everything.
If
Got
we let it.
the
But
most
this was
money
a
buys
revolution
the
that
top.
was started by consumers and programmers and, to many ways, artists. So somehow we let our revolution get away from us, and we put a lot of control of music into the hand of technologists. And as great as that is for access to digital products and distribution and things like that, they don't give a fuck about music. They don't care what they're selling you, as long as it's bits and bytes and can be translated and it's $1. They don't give a shit about music at all, whether it's of quality or not of quality. I'm not saying. I'm just saying it's bits and bytes.
Well, that's the other negative of the kind of the new age, right? It's like, not only can I put this shitty music out there very quickly, I can record it in 5 seconds at home, auto-tune the shit out of it. No one in the room here could be worth a shit musically, but in this room, with the equipment we have, we could knock something out of here with enough time on our hands and one person who could control the equipment.
True
You know,
enough.
and that's scary.
It is scary, but I do think you can always compete on talent. I really do. I always believe, I have to believe, that the best way to compete is on talent, and that if you can do something that is without without accoutrement, without embellishment, without the use of technology, if the core of it's there, you know, you're a fighter, you're a trained fighter. Like, if you are just deadly, if you are just skilled, there's trained and untrained, right?
Yep.
There's not tough guys and not tough guys. There's trained guys and untrained guys. And I always say training is better than technology, because at its core, then you can put that person in any environment and they can succeed.
I'd have to agree with you, but at the same time, too, it's you know, when you think about the state of the music industry, I mean, nowadays those supergroups just don't exist anymore.
No.
That a top echelon talent, in my opinion, I could be wrong, it just doesn't exist anymore.
They exist. They're just not the guys on the cover of the Rolling Stone
Well,
anymore.
that fair enough. Fair
like
enough.
Mastodon, bands like that in the 70s, they'd fit right in with their musicianship. The only problem is, in the 70s, they'd have been on the cover of Rolling Stone every 2 months. They'd have been Led Zeppelin, you know, whereas now, metal is like fringe, you know? It's like, you got to be pretty. You've
Well, I
got to
agree.
fit the TV
But I
mold.
think, at the same time, I think technology has made musicians lazy.
Yep.
You know,
for
now
sure.
it's just too easy nowadays. And Matt, you would know too, being a producer. I mean, you know, I have bands come in here and they record a guitar track and they're like, "Oh, well, you just can comp this or you can
Yep.
fix that." I'm like, "No, you can play it." Like,
Exactly.
Why don't you
What?
try a second take?
yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a point of pride, at least for me, listening back to a recording that I've done. You know, I can tap on my chest and say that's all me. You know, I don't. And that's what I do
Totally.
every time I listen to my no.
And he has
but in
no
all
pants
seriousness,
on.
you know, when I say that the super groups just don't exist anymore, you know, when you think back to the 70s, and I mean, you can rattle off you know, a dozen bands that really kind of exemplified that super group. And nowadays, I don't think that there's as clear of a distinction between elite and mediocre. And I think it's the technology that has, you know,
Yep.
kind of
think
compressed that whole piece.
Well, I think it's also about jobs and time. Like, if we look at a supergroup like Led Zeppelin, right? The Ashes of the Yardbirds, created in '69 or
Exactly.
'68, right? How long was Jimmy Page a session musician before that?
Yeah, he
Like, how
grinded
long?
that out for a
How long
while.
was John Paul Jones writing arrangements and doing session work as well before they, you know, formed the new Yardbirds and went off as Led Zeppelin to create that supergroup, right? There's just if you look at the history, so Zeppelin existed 68 to 1980-ish, right? And they were super for all those 12 years. But they were so active before that, so involved in their own different scenes, that they developed their musicianship and their skills beforehand. And now a lot of bands today, or a lot of labels, are probably saying, like, okay, we need a hit, and we need it now.
Exactly.
And if you don't have one, well, good luck on making a sophomore effort, because there just isn't going to be a chance. So
Well,
there's
or
there's
we'll
little
put you in a
development.
room with somebody who will write a hit for you and then you just have to go out and do iterations of it.
Yeah, like
think it's the market
Desmond
as well,
Child. That's
though.
all he fucking
It is the
does.
market.
Like I think
Just-
those super groups appealed to like 25-year-olds at the time. It seemed like you know, like that would be the age group buying things, whereas now it seems more like 16-year-old
It's younger.
girls. You
It's
know,
true,
so
it's
of
younger.
course you're going to be looking for music. You're trying to sell to 25-year-olds. You're looking for musicianship and, you know, like great concerts. They played 3.5-hour concerts. You think Bieber's rocking out for 3.5 hours?
Not without
he's
throwing up.
he's doing an hour, getting his paycheck and getting the fuck out. You know, it's a whole different
this-
thing.
this goes
when you're
back to the
selling to
risk.
children, you're not selling super groups. You're
No.
selling fucking mascara and
pretty-
like
yeah.
rouge on little boys.
Yeah.
you
And this
know,
goes
you're-
back to risk. Consolidation puts less money in the pipe. And when you're talking about an industry that really controlled the inflow and outflow, the inputs and outputs of the business by having strong entrenched relationship with retailers, by having you know, potential ownership issues with owning radio stations and owning record labels. Like, they're completely vertically integrated.
Well, the middleman's gone now.
Yeah.
Right. So when they start to suffer and retailers start to dry up, all of the effort that's gone into this supply chain, this big distribution pipe, becomes not a benefit but a burden, because you're spending money to maintain this archaic system. So the labels start going underwater, and so they start acquiring each other. And this goes back to what I was saying about being afraid to take risks. And when we become afraid to take risks, we play to younger people, because younger people's understanding the next thing they hear is going to be the best thing they hear
Mm-hmm.
every time.
Totally. And
Because
he'll be
they're-
the cutest boy. And
Well,
Yeah.
they're excited because you're there and you're playing for them, and they get that connection right away, and they
Right
think
away.
that all of a sudden you become their champion.
Well, and they're still
It's-
young, so they don't even really know what they like
Exactly.
yet. At that point.
Forming
They're kind of
identity.
told, or they kind of, you know, you tell them what they
yeah,
like.
the
at that
station
point,
you
'cause they're
watch
still
plays
young.
this band.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's the band I
Love
like.
it.
It's
Yeah.
Marshall McLuhan, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's the medium is the message, the audience is the content.
Yeah.
And so much of young people in forging identity and finding social cohesion and making friends is done through iconography, the Metallica logo, Slayer, Bieber, whatever. It doesn't matter. We use music as young people as a way to forge ego and
Mhm.
identity.
Yep.
Identity. Yeah.
They're flags.
And the mass media knows this. This is not a secret, nor has it just been developed. They've been at this for 100 years. But now what we see that's different when we were younger and
Lot
music
less
was in
mullets.
its heyday,
Yeah.
there's less diversity in what's offered.
Well, it's homogenized. Listen,
Yeah.
from the 70s to think 60s to 70s musically, you go, holy crap, what a drastic change. 70s to 80s, you know, people in the 80s entrenched in that 80s music, looking at the 70s like it's a fucking joke.
Right, the new wave.
90s to 80s, there's no association. It's like death. You shred guitar, you're a homo.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you had to play 3 chords and suck at it, you know? But
Yeah.
but then here's the thing. 2000s, well, you're still in plaid and you're still drop D and you know, it's the same shit. And now we're 2012, you know, at the end of it, and it's still the same kind of shit, you know? It's so homogenized where it's like, well, okay, well, if you liked that, you liked Nirvana when we polished it, fuck, we're still polishing Nirvana. You know, it's like we have our own,
Absolutely,
you know,
yeah.
like the grunge era just, it got so homogenized that it was like the heavy, quiet, heavy or whatever. The dynamic is pleasing to the ear enough that people went, oh, we like that? But there was no, you know, there's been no one to say like now, like pow, out of nowhere comes, this is so different from what's happening now.
And this is where things like what Jimmy does here is so important, is that all of the conditions we're talking about that frustrate us don't really exist in music. They exist in the mass media broadcast system, but they don't exist in our local communities, on our local stages, on the tours we want to go to. When we become consumers of pulled content rather than pushed content,
Yep.
now we have different avenues to, even if you're a teenager, to find that identity.
Well, the modern landscape has pushed musicians into exploring other means to connect with fans, which is exactly what we're trying to do here. I mean, you know, I like to call this the YouTube generation, right? Where it's not even so much, you know, the content, but as much how viral it is and how many plays it's seen, right? How many videos have you seen that have popped up in your Facebook feed and that have 100 million views, you know? And I
That's
use the
why you
point,
looked at it.
and I use the point of Walk Off the Earth, you know,
Yep.
which I think now it's almost comical because they're a bit of a parody of themselves. They had to play a show. They played here last weekend, and a buddy of mine who's one of the managers out at the Wave, Walk Off the Earth played. There was a decent crowd there. I don't necessarily know that it was sold out, but it's in their contract that they have to play the Gautier song, and they come out on stage, all 5 of them around the guitar, and the thing is nobody knows any of the other music. And well, I shouldn't say nobody, but I should say the mass majority that are there, which are young impressionable students that have the YouTube generation that have seen this online. That's what they go and see, and that's what they want to see, and they're waiting for it, and they've got to wait until the end to get it right, and that's that gratification. Oh, that's the song. That's what I love. And it was funny because he was telling me there were people there that were like 50, 60. Some older people that had seen this and loved the song and wanted to go see Walk Off the Earth because they saw them on Ellen and they wanted to see them perform this, So, that forces the musician now. You've got to, use the resources that are available to you. And things like YouTube is a great way to get your stuff out there. But that ties directly into what we're trying to do here. I mean, we're payola free. You spend your tracks in, we're going to spin them for now. Yeah. We're going to spin your tracks here. We want to support you. We should get to some music, and then coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to do the Indie Spotlight interview with the Dyadics, Matt and Kevin.
So let me throw you another tune to play, then.
Please do.
Because if there was one thing, everyone, like as we talked about Headstrong, we were glacial in our performance. It frustrated our label to no end. It frustrated all of us to no end that we would release so little music so infrequently. And all the while, there was a guy in our group, John Cohen, he's my like Nigel Tuffman, like we were the childhood friends in this group. And John would come in to practice every week with probably 5 songs, and we would just systematically tell him how much we fucking hated them. But he never was deterred, and he'd always come back. And in the end, some of our best songs are just like Hoodies and Hoods comes right out of John's pocket. So
I love that song.
John, since the Headstrong days, is one of these avid home recorders who continues to be really prolific. And so he's got a project that he just tools around with called Bishop Vogue, which is really just named after the street. It's the intersection streets that he lives on. And I brought you a song that he threw down called Hey Josephine, which is really reminiscent of his 80s sort of punk rock roots.
All right, let's check this out. This is Hey Josephine, Bishop Vogue on the London Indie Underground.
Josephine, are you ready to go? Get up and run up because it's 20 below. You're like an alien machine, mysterious.
Bishop Vogue with Hey Josephine here on the London Indie Underground. I think they're having a safety meeting out there, so we'll kind of let them do their thing. And Jason, our photographer, Jason Rorda with J. Rorda Photography, has been snapping some photos here for us. I think he's going to be uploading them so you can see what our mugs look like. Hey, buddy. Actually, I should put your graphic up on the screen. Where are you? Bam, there you are.
Oh my God.
Well done. So, Jay Rorda Photography. So, listen, from now until the end of the year, Jay is offering a promo to bands for $50. He will come out and shoot your band.
You see the Staylefish ones?
I did see the Staylefish
Oh my
pictures.
God. Very nice.
Yeah, they turned out really well, dude.
I don't think they can hear you, dude, when you talk.
He's grabbing a mic.
There you go.
There you
Staylefish
go.
pictures were awesome.
Yeah, great job, dude. Great job. That was a fantastic show.
And
too.
I
had a
love
great
that
time.
I was there. It was such a great time. The energy in the crowd, it was just, wow.
Are you talking about the music hall gig from last week?
Yeah.
I saw a couple of those photos, and
Yeah.
they were excellent.
Yeah,
Good for you.
The lighting was,
yeah.
the lighting was beautiful.
No,
That's what I
Jay's
was gonna
brilliant. He
say,
takes
too.
some great photos,
They
and
look great.
obviously a Photoshop wizard. I mean, take a look at the
That's
picture that you see
terrifying.
on your screen. Yeah, it is terrifying. But that is Jason.
No, I mean the real him.
Yeah.
That's like a glamour shot compared to what I got over here.
He's got a great beard, though.
I'm much prettier in pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm much prettier in the dark.
should we turn
On
the light off?
radio.
He is taking some photos. He's going to be posting them up for us, and every week, Jay, you've been coming out. I just want to thank you. But any bands that happen to be listening, if you are looking for some photos done, you know, we are in the iPhone era, and there is a product called Instagram that, yes, can take some great photos and capture those moments. But there's something to be said for having a trained photographer come out who knows how to work with light, who can take your photos, put them into Photoshop after, and get you a great quality picture.
20 years. I've been shooting bands for 20 years. You want me at your show?
Get at him.
Well, you could go see those Staylefish pictures and no, you're not Instagramming that shit.
No.
Yeah.
You're not doing that.
No.
Maybe he is.
There was a few hours of editing involved and cropping and stuff, and I put the time and energy into making them look proper.
Good job, buddy.
You're getting the real deal.
Jimmy, I just got confirmation that your podcast is being listened to in Prince Edward Island.
In Prince Edward Island.
Prince Edward Island,
Oh,
all
that's
the way
great.
from Charlottetown. Kate Bentley, Ian Bentley are listening to your podcast, and they're loving it.
That's awesome.
And they're
Well, thanks for
probably
tuning in.
uploading you dirty pictures.
My
Please do.
My mom's out in New Brunswick, and
Is she listening?
I'm pretty sure she listens every week.
And
Awesome.
Baktouche?
Huh?
Baktouche?
I don't know.
No, you know.
You know, this
Grand
thing has
Falls?
been growing.
Where? Moncton? Yeah.
Week after week, this thing's been... I'm trying to do my piece here, and you
Sorry,
guys keep
Jimmy.
interrupting me.
Steamroll.
podcast.
Caveman up here.
Play some music.
I will, but I just want to say, you know, week over week, our listenership has been growing, and I know through word of mouth. And I just want to thank everybody who's taken the time to send us feedback about what we're doing, has sent in tracks for us. I mean, we've received a pretty substantial catalog of local music. And, you know, if we don't get to your song tonight, if you happen to be one of those bands listening, rest assured we will get to it. In the interim, you can certainly go and check out our back catalog of indie streams on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/LondonIndieUG. And if you click on the Show More button right underneath, you'll be able to see the track listing of the bands that we featured, as well as the information pertaining to the Indie Spotlight bands in our previous weeks. You can get at them. So our segue now is into our Indie Spotlight band, which I really should have some kind of little sound effect that I push a little button or something.
Pew pew. Now you got that.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
That just happened
Some
because you didn't
laser
have
noises.
one.
Lasers zapping laser noises.
Oh, I'm getting some text messages here. North Bay and Bondfield too. as some of
Wow,
our
we
listenership.
are
So
coast to
we're
coast.
far-reaching,
There you
man.
go.
We're getting there.
Well, so far we're coasting
Mattawa
middle,
next.
but we'll get there.
And Ruther Glen. They'll get a kick out of that back home. You guys won't get it, but they will. All right, so the Dyadics, gentlemen, thanks for coming in and joining us today. This has been a build-up, and Gary and I have been pumping your tires here for the last couple of weeks. You know, and it was funny the connection there as far as playing hockey. I mean, I played against you and or with you, or I guess, and with Bob Breen too. And I knew you guys were engineers, but I didn't know the connection. And so Gary had brought me the disc, and obviously I'd heard of the name. You know, I know most recently I think you guys played at the fair. The same night that Staylefish played. And I really wanted an opportunity to come and check you guys out. But having said that, I listened to the album, and it's just the two of you.
That's it. Just the two of us. Yeah.
That's amazing, man. I mean, I know when you have a studio, you know, you can certainly overdub and do all that stuff, but you guys pull it off live too, right? So explain to me, please explain to me how this works. So two guys, and I mean, you know, there's the other examples that we can draw on. There's a lot of two-man groups that are emerging right now, but you guys seem to have a different take on it with some of the electronica and that sort of thing, right? So first off, how long have you guys been doing this?
2 years.
Yeah, July 2009, I think, was the official we're a band date, and we don't have a bass player.
Yeah. So I think we came about the whole thing. There are a lot of two-piece bands out there.
Mhm.
But I don't think, you know, we're not trying to go for the whole, you know, White Stripes type of thing. We're not really trying to go for anything like that. Not that I don't like the White Stripes, but we came about the two-piece rock band in a completely organic kind of way. We were jamming, I guess, that July, and we had a bass player who was supposed to come jam these tunes with us, and he didn't show up. So we didn't have a bass player, but we wanted to jam the tunes, so we started jamming anyway. And the way it worked out was Matt had this octapad, and he triggered bass notes through the octapad through his bass amp. So when it came time for guitar solo time, because I can't have rock songs without guitar solos because it doesn't make sense to me. So whether they're popular or not, I'm putting guitar solos in the song. So he would play bass notes underneath and just hold some roots so that it would just fill out the sound. And then it would slowly develop into, well, hey, I can do this now too. And then I'd say, hey, can you do this? And he'd be like, no. And I'm like, come on, man, you got to do that. And then he would figure it out. And he would start playing the bass lines with one hand and drumming with the other. And then it slowly turned into what it is. So that's why we're a two-piece like that.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy monster, though. Like the album sounds fantastic.
It really does. It really does.
Thank you.
We'll
Yeah.
get to a couple of tracks here in a minute. So you guys recently played the fair, and do you have any other shows that are coming up?
We've had a bit of a situation. We were going to play at the APK Live, but as we know, that's not going to happen.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, we weren't able to reschedule that one with the bands we were going to play with. So we don't have anything in London right now, but we are playing at the Bovine in Toronto on Friday, December 7th with the Bluestones and Goodnight Sunrise.
Excellent. Have you guys played with the Mercy Now? Are you familiar with them?
Yeah, we played with the Mercy Now at Sneaky D's last May.
Are you guys from Toronto? You're from here?
No, from here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All these Toronto venues you're talking about.
Yeah, we're lucky.
The Mercy Now is a band that we've been featuring the last couple of podcasts, and a personal connection to me and friend Steve here. We used to play in a band with Lee, the drummer. But yeah, I saw a posting that you guys were playing with them, and not having seen you and only having heard some of your stuff, I thought that was a great connection. I can only imagine that was a great show.
Oh yeah, that was
It
a
was
lot
a
of fun.
hot, sweaty show.
Yeah.
Which are the best kinds. Yeah, those were good.
Yeah.
Hot, sweaty, loud show.
Yeah. Sneaky's is a pretty cool place to play.
Yeah,
too.
it was
Good
really
vibe
cool.
on that
It
place.
sucks carrying your gear upstairs, but
Yeah.
Sure
I
does.
mean that's, you know.
And driving home from Toronto at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
Right.
That's
But I
what
mean,
I've
if
done.
that's the worst thing that happens to you, it's
Well,
not like you lost a guitar or anything.
Like you left your guitar there.
Sorry,
Come on,
I'll
Kev.
stop bringing it up.
Come on, Kev. We're gonna find it. We'll get it.
It's the theme of the evening, but
Slide
luckily it
whistle.
replaced his theme.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where we were coming in on the poop. And
On the poop. Yeah.
Farts.
now we're to stolen guitars. I feel like we've really
Stepped
brought
up.
it up a level.
Yeah, we
for
brought it
sure.
up.
Positive
We
vibes.
really
yeah.
have.
Yeah.
I'm still debating on whether or not I want to spin that fart track.
Maybe for the after hours?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, we might go a little bit late tonight. Maybe not as late as we did last week. Which I was really under the weather last week, and these guys kind of took over, and we dragged this thing on forever. I apologize. I'm sorry, I was all low talking and stuff.
So where do we find more music from you guys? After we hear these tunes, obviously we're going to be compelled to run out and get more. So where would we find music?
The Dyadics.com, and Dyadics is spelled Dyadics, or Dyadics.bandcamp, or Facebook.com/Dyadics, or YouTube.com/Dyadics.
And I noticed you guys on Twitter earlier today, so
You guys have MySpace?
.com/Dyadics.
Do we have MySpace?
Yeah, we do.
It's almost a
but
joke.
coming back.
It's almost a joke.
I
but
think
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it puts our Twitter headlines on it, and then that's all
There
we
you
do.
JT's bringing sexy back and MySpace.
do you have a GeoCities
Wait for it.
website? I mean, come on.
Nice.
Gary is our ops here. He's going to be tweeting some stuff out. So if you want to get at the Dyadics, give him a follow. Make sure you're up on any of the shows that are coming up, because believe you me, you're going to want to check them out. I know I'm definitely going to be at your next show. I got to see how this works here.
Yeah, totally.
I
I haven't heard anything. I'm green to this. I'm waiting
Yeah,
for
me
the
too.
track to spin.
All right, let's
see
do
what
it. Let's do it. Let's spin a track. So what do you want to spin,
Better be
gents?
good now.
Why don't we spin the lead track off of our EP, our second release?
Get Up.
No, oh, we could do that.
Oh, you have that one?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had the EP.
No,
the
I have
EP
this
or
one.
the full length.
I've got the full length.
He's got the full length.
Oh,
Yeah.
Do you have his guitar as well?
No. Stop it with the guitar.
Maybe you do, maybe you don't.
Yeah.
okay. So what should we? Let's go. How about Stay This Way, or Get Up? I don't care.
Go with Get
Stay-
Up. Get Up.
Get Up.
All right, well,
Let's
we'll
do
spin
Get
Get
Up.
Up.
This is the one that Broadback gave us that test mix for.
Oh, okay, cool.
So then it ended up turning into this. This has, he didn't mix this, but that's the same tune we were talking about earlier.
Right on. All right, well, let's check this out. I hope you enjoy it. This is the Dyadics with Get Up here on London Indie Underground.
Great shoes, by the way.
I wanna lay you down just to serve my appetite. I wanna lay you down. The sound we'll make tonight. Well, tonight.
The Dyadics would get up here on the London Indie Underground, broadcasting to you live from the Vault Recording Studio at Adelaide and Princess. My name is Jimi James. I'm joined by our indie spotlight band, the Dyadics. That was the first of 3 tracks we're going to spin, and this was from your full length. When did the full length come out?
December 2010.
December 2010. So you've had this one for a bit. So I got your EP here, the Dyadics Dead and Gone EP. Now this one is currently available.
Yeah, that's the latest one. We put that out, what, last year?
Yeah, April.
April, yeah.
So
I'm not
April
good
of
with
this year or April of 2011?
2012.
2012.
Yeah.
Okay, well, actually, we're going through the track listing here, and there's a bit of a mashup of some of your own songs and then a couple of cover songs on here.
Yeah, so that's our homage to our our influences and stuff. So that was the whole idea, the whole concept of the EP. And if you could see the EP, it's made up of a mosaic of Matt and I and our faces put together, and then all the little pictures of it are all the people that have influenced us, including musicians, but also other people making up the mosaic. So the whole idea of the album was just to, put out something and say, like, these people had a huge impact on us musically in one way or another. So that's what the album was for. And it's just kind of like to tide over until we do another second full release. And because the lead-off track is Dead and Gone, it's a pretty awesome tune. So
Yeah, we didn't have much to do that summer, and we had one new song, and I said, hey, why don't we record some of the covers that we're doing just for fun, record that new song we got, and rework one of the other songs that we do live now, and then I wrote a drum and bass solo for it, and then that's
There
it.
is.
That's it.
Yeah.
Excellent. And a couple of cover tracks here, Manic Depression,
Yeah.
Cracker Man, and Kashmir, too. Man, I wish I had this one loaded up. The only one that I have is the full length, which we're going to spin a couple more tracks for you. But, man, I'm going to give this a listen. So is this available right now online? Can people go and download it?
Yep, dyadics.bandcamp.com, and that's the only place. So we don't have it on iTunes or anything.
Not yet, eh?
No.
Do you intend to put it on iTunes? Or?
We kind of decided not to. It was cheaper to go this way, and we kind of did a promotional thing just before it came out with the other album to put it up for $1 to try to get people, kind of like educate them on how Bandcamp works, and like
Right.
it's not too difficult, and you can get used to it, and a lot of good bands are there. So we were hoping that would pay off, and it has a bit. So
And that really kind of exemplifies some of the things that we've been talking about, the independent musician and using the resources that are available to you. And, you're a DIY guy, kind of like myself, right? Where you have a studio set up, and, incidentally, Steve and I have been recording some of our own cover tracks just for fun, too. But,
It is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. Well, actually, we're going to be showcasing, I think at some point we'll end up spinning a track or two just for fun.
Cool.
Even though it's, not independent music per se, but it's still a lot of fun. But having said that, this particular disc, in looking at it, this, in my mind, kind of represents, what bands are trying to do now. Because there's a lot, let's face it, I mean, the independent landscape is really, really difficult, and try to get your stuff across. And we talk about using the mediums that you have available to you. But it almost seems now like, there's a lot of bands that are recording cover music just to give some people, that glimpse into what you're capable of doing with the sound, and modernizing some of that old music that, and
Sense
even
of
these
familiarity or something.
and even
anyway
these
to
songs,
start
I mean,
with.
Kashmir, Cracker Man, and Manic Depression are not necessarily old songs, but maybe new to some ears that haven't heard it before. So they hear a modern take on it, and it kind of opens the door into what you're doing, right? And I've seen a lot of bands kind of take this approach.
Yeah, I think when you're doing festival shows or you're playing for audiences, and Matt's good at pointing this out, and he's the one that's told me this, but playing a show maybe out of town for the first time or something, just getting something to pull those people into you, and it might just be like a cover tune that you do in your own kind of way that might just kind of grab their ears, and then they might be like, whoa, that's pretty cool the way they do that tune. And then maybe you'll get their attention for your originals for the rest of the set, or something just to kind of pull them in a little bit. So it's kind of like a walking fine line between, like, you don't want to be, you don't want to do a cover band thing, but if you just do the original stuff, you just need something. It's like ear candy, just pull them in a little bit.
It's also, it tells them, like, this is our vibe. This may not be, you don't know our song, but we like this song. And, if you like that as well, then maybe you'll like us. It's at least the kind of segue to your band.
And some of the most famous artists in the world never wrote a song in their lives. I mean, Frank Sinatra didn't write a single song, and he's the chairman of the board. So
Dean Martin, none of those guys.
Exactly. There's no shame in making a signature your own of someone else's work, as long as they're credited for it. But there's one thing you mentioned about playing to markets. It's particularly in Canada. There's something, no matter what town you're in Canada, except for maybe like Montreal. If you're a new band and you're touring in Canada, even if you're a known band and you're touring in Canada, Canadians are so restrained and reserved that usually they stare at you and watch you, and you don't know if they're having any fun at all until the songs are over, and then they whoop and holler and yay, hey, hey. But you're really like, minutes go by where you're like, do they like us?
I'm a showgazer. As a musician, I go and watch other bands.
Yeah.
And if you ever watch me when I'm watching a band, I'm like taking it all in.
I'm the same.
But if you go
Yeah.
in the States,
It can
this
make
is
you feel
not how they operate.
No.
You go see Hatebreed in Hartford, and I guarantee you, no one
Yeah.
is standing there going, oh, wow, my goodness.
No,
It used
even
to make
going
me feel uncomfortable. When people are standing there, you're like, because you're like really, when you're standing in front of the entire room on an elevated platform and
Right.
everyone's watching you, you're feeling like pretty naked, right?
Yeah.
So you're jumping around,
you're
and you're all
hoping they really
animated.
like it.
So when someone has their arms crossed, watching you standing there 2 feet from you, it's like standing there without pants on. You're just like, it's pretty awkward.
It is
when
awkward.
they're into it, it's a moment you're having with someone. But when they don't appear to be into it, it's awkward.
And that's the thing about Canadian. It's perception. Like you have this. Look, most successful musicians, as we talked about before, are egomaniacs. So they're insecure to the point of security. You know what I mean? Like they're bulletproof because they're so
That's
insane.
the drive. That's
But
the drive.
normal people are just normal insecure, and so Canadian crowds don't really reveal that they really enjoyed the performance until you stop. It's almost like they don't want to have too much fun because they don't want to be rude.
Tweet about it later.
yeah.
Yeah, your band has to read all these tweets. This show was so awesome. You're like, not one fucking person clapped tonight. But I got 8,000
But
tweets
man, my
talking
Twitter
about how
blew up.
great we are.
All right, let's get to another track. So,
Right.
what do you want to spin off of this?
Let's stay this way.
Sure.
We've spun this one. I think this one is my favorite one, actually.
Oh, right
yeah,
on.
this one's it's power. It's a good track.
Power.
All right, so this is the Dyadics. Let's stay this way on the London Indie Underground.
Be so empty.
Dyadics with Stay This Way on the London Indie Underground, part of our Indie Spotlight. We're going to spin another track for you here, gentlemen. But great song, man. I really like that one. Like I said, we spun it the last couple of weeks for you. And for me, anyways, of the ones that I've heard so far, that one's really driving. Have you had any airplay with that one, or any?
That one got
local
spun.
support?
That one got spun on FM 96 a little bit.
Yeah, Dunner.
Yeah, Dunner spun that stuff. That and then I think Western Radio too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, CHRW.
CHRW. Yeah. Yeah, they've been supportive too. So yeah, they got a little bit of play.
You know, they moved the indie show on FM 96 is on Tuesday night. They move it back to 11 o'clock,
Yeah.
which, you know, is a little tough.
It says something.
Yeah, it's not the drive slot, right?
But
Yeah.
you know what?
Well-
That's indie, right? Like
Yeah.
when videos started coming out, right? It was like at midnight. You know,
That's
there'd be
right,
like there'd be like 15 minutes worth. You know, and
Yeah.
you'd get like the 6 artists that had a video. So it was like it was kind of a cool thing.
And listen to what we're even talking about. We're talking about the presence of independent music on mainstream radio. Like,
Yeah, true.
of course they're going to move it to 11 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah.
If it was at noon, we wouldn't be talking about
Well,
it.
it used
wouldn't
to
be talking
be
about
at
it.
9, though. Like, at one point, it was at 9 o'clock.
Or even
so
last year, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was a little easier to get people to tune in, but, I mean, obviously, as an independent musician, you have to be appreciative when the town is still spinning your tracks regardless of what the hour is.
I mean, don't blame radio for Paola. Blame
No, certainly not.
Yeah.
No, I know they've got, a programming structure and CanCon that they need to achieve and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah,
too.
I mean, I have a hard time taking shots at CanCon because, look, we are a thin ribbon of civilization thrust up against an Arctic wilderness and the biggest media machine in the universe. So CanCon, to me, is a necessary evil, if you can call it an evil, because it forces structure into programming.
I think every country should have a element of their own culture that's like.
Well, most countries
because
don't
otherwise
need
it just gets.
It's our proximity to America
Yeah.
that gets us drowned out. And the reason CanCon is so important is because these broadcasters make money hand over fist, simultaneously substituting advertising over American programming.
Yeah.
So we're left out in the cold, and they make a boatload on it. So, in fact, this leads into something I want to talk about later, which is resources that we have that are specifically designed to help Canadian artists break through, get their works produced, get their work published, get their work in film, theater, television, in new media environments that are all funded, siphoned off off profits from companies like Rogers and Bell that make their money selling porn on demand and selling American programming to Canadians. And
Canadian content is great. I don't like the idea. You can have Canadian content. It's the laziness associated with it. It's like this. This is what it sounds like. Like if you listen to the radio, it's like 90% of the radio is like American music,
Yeah.
and then instead of looking for a band like this, like that fucking song just rocked. Like if that was coming on the radio, you were driving home, you'd probably end up speeding. Like that rocked. That was a great song. That's not a great local band song. That's a great song.
Right.
So if you have to play a Canadian band, why the fuck do you have to play Bryan Adams? I know he's Canadian. I know he writes great songs and all that, but if bands like this exist, it doesn't mean I don't need to hear Bryan Adams. It just means he's not the only guy. Like he hasn't been significant for 20 years, but I bet you he made $100,000 today in radio play.
well, but I mean,
like
listen to where we started this conversation is like, I know you have to play Canadian content, but why can't you play bands from here? Why were we listening to the other 70% of foreign content?
Yeah.
So, if we were just listening to Canadian music,
Touche.
there would be room for all of these bands. And we wouldn't be saying, oh, the
but
new
it
Papa
should be
Roach,
survival
hooray.
of the fittest. I don't want to listen to shit just because it's
It should
Canadian.
be, but the economic reality is that if it were survival of fittest and unregulated, there wouldn't be any Canadian artists on the air.
True.
There wouldn't be any of them.
But I was going to say, Joel, at the same time, like when I'm traveling like down in the U.S. lately, it's funny, but I'm hearing more Canadian music.
But you're
on
hearing
the
them
radio.
plugged into an American media machine.
Yeah,
you're
true.
hearing them signed to Sony Records in Los
Yeah.
Angeles. You're hearing them being promoted not as Canadians. You're hearing them
true.
as being look, we've been a farm for the U.S. media industry forever.
Yeah.
All the great comics we grew up with were Canadian.
Even tons of supergroups, a lot of people have there's huge successful artists, people have no clue.
There is not a lack
unless
of
you're
talent in
Celine
this country.
Dion.
No.
We
No.
punch
Certainly true.
way above our weight with regards to talent. We're a tiny little 30 million person country where you've got to drive for 12 hours to get to your next major market on tour. Like it's
Yeah.
it's economically not feasible to tour in this country. But we don't lack
Thins the
talent.
herd, though.
What's that?
It thins the herd. You
Oh, yeah.
have to be good if you're gonna like. Well, our next gig's a 12-hour drive. You
For
know,
sure.
you better
And you
be
know what?
confident that
People
you're
that
a
have been
good
at it
band.
for a couple of years that are like so frustrated, why can't we get representation? Why isn't anybody picking up our band? You know, that's the fact. Is chances are you haven't put the time in yet. Chances are you're really not that good enough yet.
Mhm.
So, you know, the best advice we ever got was from a guy that was in a band called Helmet. His name was Henry Bogdan. And when we were young guys in the 90s, when we were young and full of hope, we would send out letters to people we thought could give us advice. And one band of all those bands wrote us back, and it was Helmet. And he sent us a postcard. And I'll never forget what he said. He said, make enough noise, and they come to you. And that's the truth.
It's one of the coolest bands ever. Just got cooler with that story.
Yeah, exactly. It was unbelievable. I still have the postcard. It has a red train on it, and they were touring in Germany. And I tell you, truer words have never spoken. I have a few cliches. You can shine up a piece of shit, you'll never take the smell off it. But if you make enough noise, they come to you. And my last cliche is, it's not about the riffs, it's not about the hooks, it's about trust. That's what makes your band survive over the long year. It's about trusting each other.
Not killing each other.
Exactly. Well, sometimes you get close, and that's how you learn to trust.
So, if I can interject here for a second, I just want to get back to the Dyadics for a moment. I understand you. I know you guys have to go here pretty soon because you got a meeting with, I believe, radio station here in town. Is that correct?
Yeah, Free FM. We're a top 3 finalists for Under the Covers for October.
Awesome.
Nice.
Congratulations.
That's awesome, guys.
Dave Navarro.
Yeah, we just got a text saying Dave Navarro retweeted a tweet about the missing guitar.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's going to turn up now.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe Ink Master.
He can afford it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll send you one. Yeah, you'll get a signed one.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I just
Fuck your
rub the
robot.
signature up. Just kidding.
Hey, man, why are you hating on Dave Navarro?
Hey, I'm just a hater.
You hate Jane's
wild
addiction?
here.
Equal
Come on.
opportunity.
You can't hate Jane's addiction. It's like hating boobs.
No, I'm good. I'm good
You
at
hate
Jane's addiction.
boobs?
No. I don't know how those two like come together.
Oh, they come
They
together.
just do.
Yeah, they
They
just
just
do.
do.
One and the same.
Sorry, Jimmy, what were you going to say?
No, I just wanted to talk about that for a second until we started talking about boobs, and then.
Well, the
you know.
retweet from Dave Navarro, that's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, that's
That
cool.
is huge.
No, but the 98.1
maybe the
FM.
guitars in California right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That would be awesome.
Hey,
If nothing
Even
else,
where
if
he
this
is.
podcast gets that guitar back,
Then
Oh, yeah.
we would have
Yeah,
come
but my
anyway.
job.
done.
If they find
We
your
would've
lost
come
puppy, like, wow.
Totally worth it.
seriously.
It's a
If
child.
you have his
remember,
guitar,
it's not
don't be a
puppy, it's
dick.
a
Sorry,
child.
yeah.
You know he loves it.
Hmm.
Which cover song was it that you guys did?
Personal Jesus by Depeche Mode.
Nice.
Oh, right. What was the theme for this month?
80s.
80s theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had entered my band Surrounded by Water. We did a cover of Achilles' Last Stand
Yeah,
by
I saw
Led
that.
Zeppelin. Did you see our?
Yeah, that's heavy.
Yeah, they actually played it. It was like 7.5 minutes. I couldn't believe they actually spun it online, but or on the air rather. But yeah, it seems to be a great promotion that they've been doing. And if you do win, what do you get?
4,000 of studio time at EMAC.
Oh, wow.
So
Is it with Dan?
I don't know. That's all it says. So I'm not sure who it's with. It might
I
be
know
with
Dan's
Matt
worked with
or-
a couple of the under the covers. Just primarily dudes with guitar seem to be a lot of the winners that have been coming out of some of those contests. And I know Dan's worked with some production, so I mean that would.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know why I can't remember the name of these two guys because when I was in college, I worked with both of them. But the other two guys aren't slouches at EMAC either.
Playing with Rob Nation and Joe
Yeah,
Vaughn.
like that's like
Yeah.
if you're in EMAC, you're in good hands.
I don't know
whether
how
it's
much
Dan
Joe's
Broadbeck
doing these
or-
days. I know Rob's still
Joe
cooking
Vaughn is in
and
the
Matt
fan show
Grady.
program now.
They were there.
Oh,
they
they've
were
been
kind
there.
of segueing
They've
when
still
I
been
was
there,
there,
yeah.
like 10 years ago. Bill Seddon was his name, was having health problems, and they came in and took over his program. That's how I was introduced to them. But I mean, those guys are no slouches either. If you're at
All
EMAC
three of
Studios,
them.
you're all good.
When Headstrong recorded their record at EMAC, all three of them were there. I won't say that Rob was involved in the creative process. He really wasn't, but he was managing the building, and Dan was our guy. We brought Dan in, and Joe Vaughn was a tremendously helpful guy there. The one knock I have against Rob Nation is that he would always buy us the worst scotch. He bought this White and McKay scotch, like, because, of course we're a rock band, so we have a rider, and this stuff, I wouldn't use this to take paint off a wall. Like, it was just the most brutal, and he'd always be like, "Hey, let's have a scotch." It's like, no. Other than that, Rob's a sweetheart. Buy better scotch.
Well, if that's your biggest gripe, he must be a good guy.
Yeah, exactly right.
Because no scotch would have sucked.
Well, yeah, no scotch, no band.
That's rock and roll.
Touche. So back to you guys.
Spin the other track.
Derailing us.
Spin the other track.
This guy will just go on.
Yeah, you bet.
But it's great because you just kind of get caught up with what he's saying. I'm like, it's so true. It is bad scotch.
Don't bring that shit.
No, but I wanted to ask you, the contest right now, is there any way that listeners can support you with this?
Yeah, they can go to the Free FM website and vote for us until Sunday.
Until Sunday?
Yeah, once a day until Sunday. Yeah, I don't know.
Now,
what
are there
the
any
website-
restrictions in terms of like one vote per email, or if
Yeah.
any disqualifying factors?
I think they have to register to vote. Register
Okay.
as a Free FM something or other. I don't know.
Gary, do you want to post up that link?
I'm up. I'm on it.
Yeah, we'll
I'm doing
post
it
it
now.
up to Twitter. Gary's been our ops today, and if you'd like to communicate with us, converse, you can hit us up either on the Ustream, the
Yep.
page on the right-hand side. There's the social
Yep.
stream. You can tweet us.
Mm-hmm.
You can use the Facebooks, because we're on the internets.
Yep, on the interwebs.
We use them internets.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah, well, we got bands on the internets now, apparently.
It's true.
Okay, so maybe we can try to help you guys win this thing. That would be pretty cool.
That'd
Yeah.
be sweet.
We appreciate
Find the
that.
guitar, win the contest.
Yeah.
Jay's in the other room
Jay's
voting right now.
Right on.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right,
If
let's
we
Things ma-
win,
things are on the
if
up
we
and
win
up.
this contest and get your fucking guitar bag, we get an in-house show for a podcast.
Oh, there you go.
with These guys.
That'd be awesome.
Guaranteed.
Sure.
We'd love to have you guys
Yeah.
here.
Happy to do
Even
that.
one out of the two, I say.
Yeah.
Let's get them to sign
We
something.
do video podcasts here. This is part of our weekly audio stream, but we do a monthly video podcast, which we had to put over until next month. Just too many conflicting dates in the building here to be able to do one this month, but we're looking to do one next month. But if you guys would be interested in doing something like that, we'd love to have you.
Yeah,
That'd be a lot of fun.
absolutely, yeah.
He actually thought that's what we were doing tonight.
I thought, yeah, honestly, yeah. Up until 2 days ago, I thought I was because we got the other thing after this. So Matt's like, can you bring an acoustic guitar too? I'm like, yeah. And then he told me the time, and I was like, dude, that's gonna be tight with, tearing down and loading out. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, we're not playing. I was like, we're not playing. So I, yeah, sounds good. Let's do it.
Awesome. All right, well, let's spin another track.
Yeah.
So what do you want to...
Let's go with the dirty tune. Yeah.
Sure.
We used to call this. I still do call it Big and Dirty. It's the last track on the disc. It's called The Next One Gone.
Can I call it Big and Dirty instead?
You can. Yeah,
All
I would love that.
Big and dirty.
All right, this is Big and Dirty by the Dyadics in the London Indie Underground.
Thank
The Dyadics with the Big Dirty, a.k.a. the next one gone here on London Indie Underground. My name is Jimi James, broadcasting you live from the Vault Recording Studio, Adelaide and Princesses in beautiful London, Ontario. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I hope you enjoyed the Indie Spotlight band, the Dyadics. Make sure you check them out online.
Yeah. Two things.
Yeah.
Guys, next time you're going to do an album, just bring the songs here first so we can rename them for you.
Yeah.
Because I think the Big
can do
Dirty's
that.
Big
Yeah.
Dirty's pretty nasty, and it would probably attract a lot of porn users. And at the same time, again, if you're in the area, please keep your eyes open. It's a white Yamaha Dave Navarro model acoustic guitar. Last seen at the Blackshire in a black guitar case. Kevin left it behind at the gig, and now basically nobody's claiming to know where it has gone. So we're trying to track it down. If you do have it, just so you know, it's kind of a rare guitar, so painting it black or putting stickers on it and pretending that it's a different guitar is not really going to happen. But anyways,
Did you tweet a photo of it?
I'm going to be tweeting a photo of it very soon. But anyways, so please keep your eyes open. If you hear anything, drop us a line here at the podcast, or actually just go to the Dyadics website. Let them know. Kevin would really love to get this back.
If you see your buddy playing this guitar,
Yeah,
your buddy's an asshole.
yeah. Call him a douche.
You got to know if you're a guitar player.
Yeah.
You know how much you love,
Yeah.
that guitar.
Yeah.
So if you're holding that someone else's girlfriend right now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
give it back.
Sadly,
Human shield,
yeah.
not cool.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
cool.
Not
Yeah,
cool.
not
Exactly. So yeah, give us a shout or give Kevin a shout so we can get that back to him right away.
Thank you.
Even though it wasn't stolen and he forgot it, we're
Yeah.
still.
That's true. Yeah,
But
you
once-
did bring this on yourself.
Yeah.
But
But at the same time, once somebody
Sure, it's karma paying him back or something else,
Yeah.
but I don't want to get all deep on you.
True,
So-
but once the other person leaves with the case that isn't his, then it becomes theft.
True.
So
I
fuck them.
once left a venue with somebody else's guitar who had left their guitar there, but I didn't take it.
It was
I
more to
was
say, dude, I got
holding
your
it for
guitar.
them. I figured better I take it
Mm-hmm.
Right.
than someone else take it.
And did they ever get it back?
They did. They got it back in 15 minutes when they met me at the next bar we were going to.
Nice.
So
You're a
there you
good
go.
man.
Yep. And we're hoping that other good man is out there that's going to
That's
bring
right.
Kevin his guitar
Let's
back.
hope.
Do the right thing.
Yeah.
And do you have a guitar in the
Do it.
meantime to use?
Well, I got, yeah, but not tonight.
No.
The best part is, next Monday, he's going to have 15 of these white Dave Navarro guitars. 'Cause everybody in town is going to be like, wow,
I saw this guy playing this Dave Navarro guitar outside the beer store, so I fucking clubbed him.
asshole.
Everyone else that
What's
has
my
that guitar is
reward?
like, shit,
Yeah.
now I can't leave the house.
Yeah, this is not going to be good for me.
Are you going to post a reward for it? Did we talk about that already?
Give him a record.
No.
Yeah.
This all just, this
Play
all
their
just
birthday.
happened like the second we were
What's
going to
that?
leave, and so we haven't really thought much
What do you
about
say?
it.
Play their birthday.
Play their birthday party.
I'll play their birthday party.
Yeah,
Your
some
Records.
bar
Dyadics-
mitzvah.
we'll-
Records.
Yeah, we can hook him up with some
I'll cook
Dyadic
you a
swag.
warm meal. Yeah.
You know?
Speaking of which, I'll take that record now that I heard that stuff.
Right on.
There you go.
I didn't want it before
Sold.
because
There
I
you
had
go.
to. Now I want it.
Yeah.
This is great, man.
Great sound.
Excellent
There you go.
job.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
Thanks again for coming in, guys. I really appreciate
Thanks
it.
for
I
having
appreciate
us.
it, guys.
Thank you very much.
No worries. We got some swag for you, too. There's some
Yeah.
shirts out there. If you'd like to help yourself, I'm not sure what sizes we have left because I think a lot of the larges and the mediums are already taken, but please feel free to take a look. If you
Yep.
see something that's your size.
Ease yourself in.
Yeah.
If there's not a size that you need, let me know. I'll hook you up.
Okay.
'Cause-
We only have Gary Begner sizes.
yeah. we only- yeah. What was it? Oh, there's no smalls. Like, who the fuck buys a small?
A lot of mediums, though.
Yeah, a lot of mediums.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
we got some double XLs in there, too.
That's true. That's true. But we haven't any girlfriend bands in yet, so.
You know, it's funny. We were. I'll plug another one of my old shows from Tom Bass. One day we're out of the road with Tommy Lee, and Tommy Lee comes into the venue to check out our sound check, and lo and behold, he's wearing one of our girls' T-shirts because we didn't have any smalls either. So he grabbed the one with the fit, and nobody wanted to be the guy to say.
Nice baby
That's
doll.
one of her.
there.
Yeah, exactly. nice red black baby doll. Sorry. Anyway,
At
it
least you
was-
weren't selling thongs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What would have happened?
Tommy
then?
Lee was probably wearing one
He
anyway.
probably was
true,
wearing
true.
it anyway. He's got to pull something on.
Hey, man, my band, we have some thongs.
Do you?
We do.
I'm wearing one
Wow.
now.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be?
Yeah.
I need to wash my brain and get that image out of my mind.
Yeah.
That really.
That'll be the next
turned
Photoshop,
things.
for the J. Rorta photography, little plug here. Be him and a
As long as we have the
thong.
There's Speedo pictures up on. Never mind.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. No.
Do we have time for me to ask these guys one or two questions before they go?
Please.
When you were putting this together, because a lot of what I like to talk about is access to resources and whatnot, did it occur to you, or did you apply for grant funding? Did you reach out to
Factor?
The Factor or like the Ontario Media Development Corporation or anything like that?
Not for that one, no. We looked into it for the second release, but a lot of the grants that I read about, and we're looking at it more, and then you might want to add something, Maddie, but are more set up for you have to sell so many units before you can get some money for albums, and that's the way I read it.
It's true. These programs, while they're set up to promote Canadian content, they want you to have made an effort to establish your own career before they make an investment into you. They want to recoup this money.
Yeah, and I can't remember how many units you have to sell, but it's not even like you have to sell the units at a show. It has to be kind of, you have to be able to track it.
Yeah.
Of course you. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, but
So we weren't,
shouldn't we
Didn't
be
fit the
tracking these sort of
criteria.
things as a band anyway? Like, don't
Well,
we
we-
want to know too? We didn't ask, when we used to take the master at the Cinram, we didn't say, just send us a few boxes. We knew it was.
Oh, we know,
Yeah.
So,
and we know how many we sold, but we definitely didn't meet the.
They need to be able
the
to track
minimum.
the metrics, though, to be able to see it.
well, they need
online.
more than that. I mean, the point behind these funds is, in many cases, to create economy and to do it off the major grid. So the purpose is twofold. One is to create works of culture that are domestic, and two, it's to help bands act as entrepreneurs. It's to give them gap resources to succeed, because we know how challenging it is.
It's also a tangible way to prove their worth early on, right? Like, are you really a band that's been, like, you're putting the effort in? Do you have that gem within you? Or are you just a bunch of guys that are like, hey, my dad said there's a website I can apply for a
Right,
grant. You're
exactly.
a shitty band, and they have to sift through all that,
Exactly.
you know?
already have to have had that
Yeah.
sort of test
Yeah.
before on the federal dollar or the provincial dollar or the the private trust dollar is going to say we endorse you. I mean, there is a level of trust coming from these organizations, and you have to make good on it. And so that's why you went to school for recording engineering,
I did.
and now you own a jiu-jitsu school, seemingly unrelated. We were talking about this off mic,
Yep.
but just like you run a business in your jiu-jitsu school, these grants expect you to take that kind of acumen and approach to your product sales. And as arts managers, which is what a lot of bands are, they're managers of artistic work, but you want to live on it. You do want some success because you want to make a living.
Definitely, yeah.
So, the compromise that arts managers have is that when we commoditize these creative products, where do we make the compromise?
Well, we were talking about integrity earlier. That's
Right,
where it comes.
exactly.
How far do you get to that line where you say, man, I'm like, you're working. Guy's playing guitar. This fucking dude's playing two instruments at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what he was probably doing when these guys were at, in high school at all these parties, practicing.
Exactly.
It's like he worked for that.
Exactly.
He probably
That's
these
right,
guys
I
spend
had
more
no
time
friends.
playing. But you know what I mean? Like we're all musicians sitting
you
here.
have
You
24
know how
hours.
long you took. You know how long. You know how many 12, 15-hour stretches.
Malcolm Gladwell
Like you
calls
probably
it
play your
10,000
instrument
hours,
more
so-
than a doctor went to school when
Yep.
it's all said and done.
Yeah,
Like
a lot of
you're on that all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's
10,000
not an
hours is the mark.
accident. It's not an
That's right,
accident.
yeah.
And then we charge $1 for a song on
That's the
iTunes.
thing.
Yeah.
It's debasing the music industry because it's like you'll work so hard and then like you said, you're playing at the Whiskey, I'm fucking paying to play there.
If you're playing, the top tier American U.S. bars, if you're an indie, you're going to pay to play, at least initially, because you got to prove your worth. But at the same time, we don't want to lay the stereo so low that it's like you say, "Oh, my kid is wonderful. She'll love her."
Yeah.
So and they throw on anything and she karaoke's to it. Like we do want original works, but at the same time,
I don't know though. I think the music listeners, some music listeners, I don't know if they care about original works or the complexity of the work or how masterful you are on the guitar.
this
There's
goes back to
definitely a
compromise.
1
When
to
it comes
10
in-
scale on that
Yeah,
between I have no fucking clue what's happening and I'm, Neil
But
Peart.
even the people that watch this stuff on YouTube and you get millions of hits, is it for entertainment purposes or are they looking for something that's going to push their boundaries musically? Like they might not really be all that into music. They might just be looking for some
Of course,
entertainment.
and
right?
so that's,
And that's
why
why the
I
hook
say
is there.
you pick your spot. When you think about your music career and you think about where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, a great way to visualize what kind of success you have, how you're going to define the terms of success, is by imagining who that person is that's listening to you and in what environment are they listening to you.
Yeah.
If you're a hit chaser, you don't really need to be out there touring and performing. You need to be writing and writing and
Get it
writing
on the radio.
and
Yeah,
writing
get it on the radio.
and writing, and then make a decision as to whether or not you're going to sell this song or not. I'm not saying one is a more moral way to compete than the other. What I'm saying is there's a different strategic road, a different way to align your resources to achieve each path. When we want to achieve a strategic goal, there's 3 ways we can acquire resources. We can, if we're insufficient in an area, we can go out and buy that thing. We can physically acquire it. We can develop it in-house, which takes longer and cuts away at something else we already do, like you do. You learn to play 2 or 3 things at a time, right? This is a perfect example of taking that other way to acquire resources.
When you're splitting the check on gigs, though, it's probably a lot more fun
There
being
you
two
Yeah,
guys,
exactly,
right?
being that guy. And the third way,
All the checks.
Yeah, what check?
the third way is a strategic alliance. And I like to use Jimmy as a great example of this, because Jimmy is not only a studio owner and an independent broadcaster, he's also a pretty veteran drummer. He's an excellent fucking drummer.
And bass player and guitar player.
Excellent. So when our local band, Two Crown King, who hopefully we can spin one of their tracks later, had a need for drums and also someone knowledgeable to engineer demos and to... This is a strategic alliance. And Jimmy says, no, I love playing drums as well. I already have this other thing, and I have other bands. So
This is it. This is Jim's. We were talking about embarrassing your friend earlier.
This is how I embarrass
This is
my
how
friends.
we're embarrassing Jim, because this is Jim's defining moment right now.
We
You know,
heap
it's like
praise
it's all
on
coming
him.
together for him. It's like podcast, studio kicks ass. Wait till the Staylefish album drops, man. Whether you give a shit about that type of music or not,
Yeah.
the sound quality and everything is definitely gonna let people know exactly what can happen here. Then the podcast, the monthly podcast, now Two Crown King. It's time. It's like when you
I'm
work
everywhere.
for something.
Yeah,
Well, you know
exactly.
what? Like
We knew you
I
would,
met
Jimmy.
I met Jim
Send
when
me
I
your
was
money.
I met Jim when I was 8 years old, and he had a Gretsch drum kit in the basement and knew how to play it. So
Yeah, buddy.
put your
how I
fucking
roll.
time in, right?
8-year-old
That's
with
it.
a Gretsch
That's it.
kit.
You put
What's
your-
up?
It's like
that.
Scarface.
Now, if you guys wouldn't mind it, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. I mean, you know,
Well, it's, on your own podcast, you're not going to toot. You're always
Exactly.
like
We-
you're
we
saying.
have to do it for you.
Pumping up your tires, but obviously you're not going to do that for yourself. But
no, and I mean, you know, it's not about me, you know, when it comes to this, because really what I want to do, and, you know, I thought a lot about it, and to give back to this community. I mean, nobody's doing anything like this right now. And I mean, we talked about FM 96, the indie shows at 11 o'clock at nighttime. You know, yeah, CHRW, they certainly spin some independent music. But beyond that, there's really... other than live shows, there's not a medium that allows bands to connect directly with fans, other than, of course, your pre-recorded stuff, your YouTube and whatnot. But to be able to come in and live and spin tracks, and I mean, like I said, there's no payola here. I'm going to spin it if you send it to me, as long as it sounds decent. I'm
that's
gonna
the coolest
spin it.
thing. For those that don't know, because I've known Jim since we were like kids, right? This is Jim. This is a different new generation, new medium. It's internet or whatever. But when it was 20 years ago, you would go to Jim's house to record on his 4-track. You know, it's like, this is Jim from... This is just a new era, right? It's the internet, but
Jim 3.0.
it was the 4-track, you know, it was dumping tracks, like, you know, recording 4, dumping onto
Now
1,
he's
make a
embarrassed.
stereo mix.
Now he's getting
Like,
embarrassed.
this is Jimmy from the start, right? Like,
It's more because you keep on talking about the Fostex again.
The Foss.
Uh-oh.
Hey, man, don't make
Uh-oh.
fun of my Fostex. That thing was awesome.
We could ping pong, like, you know, down to about 12 tracks on that.
seriously,
no
though, he was
idea.
the first guy I knew who would be like, I'll just record these 4, record to that, bounce it all back as a stereo mix,
Yeah.
and have 3 more tracks. You're like, I have no fucking clue what you said, but
Yeah, I
I
know
had a-
exactly what you
I had
said.
an 8-channel reel-to-reel studio in my basement when I was like 17, 18.
with a
and
foot switch that...
Yeah, there was only one other studio that was like big studio that was in town, and nobody else was doing what I was doing, right? So people were coming in, and we did some pretty legendary recordings down there, at least as far as the local
Right,
community
in
went.
your minds, yeah.
Right, well, in my mind,
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah,
of course,
yeah.
they're all. I'm a legend. You know?
Yeah.
I'm just
Of
kidding.
course.
I'm kidding.
Well, this is why when
and
we
truth
go
is,
in our-
truth is, I'm pretty humble about all that stuff. But I mean, it's you know, when I say I'm old school, I mean that's where I came from, right?
This
I
is
came
where
from
we
tape.
do our old man rants about technology. It's
Right.
because of what we were working on.
Well, we were
Right.
talking about the 6 degrees of separation. We were talking about Zool's Evil Disco earlier, which leads to Strange Bargain, which leads to that 4-track Fostex booty. Remember
know
that?
Strange
Right,
Bargain,
dude.
you
No,
know the
that was
Wilsons?
8-channel. That was on the 8-channel reel-to-reel.
That's going way back, but that was like, you know, like that style of like funk coming. But this is when like grunge was the thing.
I play with Ben Wilson on Monday nights to this day.
Cool.
He's one of the most talented guys. And
I watched Ben play in a country band.
He is so
opened up
good.
for
He
Core
plays.
Blonde.
Can I plug Ben Wilson very briefly?
Sure. Well, I was
Okay.
actually going to talk about Ben real quick. After you, though. You're
Ben
first.
Wilson does a residency with a guy named Tim Bradford called the Bright Blue Motels. Tim Bradford and the Bright Blue Motels, and they play a mix of original songs and Waylon Jennings, and they'll even play a Dolly Parton song or things like that. They are just tremendously talented. They play a hole in the wall in Kensington Market called Graffitis all the time. I'm not sure where their next is, but I know there's something in the works. Do yourself a favor. Look for Tim Bradford and Bright Blue Motels featuring the irreplaceable Ben Wilson on bass guitar and singing backups. And he's got that Rick Danko angel voice. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nice.
Rick Danko from the band, if anyone's familiar with the band. All those super high part, Whispering Pines, these kind of things. Oh, this is the Ben Wilson that he's right in your own backyard. Go out and find these guys.
That's a guy that loves music. That guy's been.
He'll say to
in
you,
so many bands.
I was put on earth to play bass guitar.
Because he'll play in your country band, but he can smash your face in with, like, he's like Flea on the bass.
He's
Oh, he really is.
Another art of restraint kind of
Yeah.
player like Ajay Masi,
Yeah.
another local great
I think
great
Udge
musician.
might be coming by anyway.
That's been a big theme of the evening, right? Is like guys that can totally shred, but they know when to make a, you know, a 3-note
How to make it
line,
musical.
You know,
You know,
just
I
like-
got to pull out some music out of the archive here because I do have some of the booty stuff, you know, and some people might be familiar with Strange Bargain, who I played with in the early 2000s. But previous to that, before Matt and Ben Wilson moved here and met, you know, James Leacock and Dre Norton and all those guys from Zool's Evil Disco, we used to play in a band called Booty, which was a 3-piece funk band from North Bay that we recorded in my basement to reel. And that recording was, I mean, to this day, and I go back and I listen to it. I mean, obviously technology has evolved, but for my ears, no, it's just Jay over here. But for my ears, I think it still sounds awesome. And I know to this day, if you ask Benny about it, he'll probably tell you he still throws the cassette in and goes for a run, and he used to do that every day to Booty. So I should try to find that. I've got it somewhere. I was just looking, I couldn't find it. But I got some moldy oldies that I should pull out at some point.
Do you have
Totally.
Super
Pretty cool.
Fantabulous?
I do.
Oh, that'd be a great one.
I don't know if I've
Classic
got that
Zools.
here.
That was a strange show one time. One show we played Surrounded by Water, like progressive metal band in Zool's Evil Disco. That was a fun night.
Yeah, do you remember that? After Prince
Yeah,
came up to
Prince
us?
is climbing up on the ceiling.
No,
was
he
a
came up
wild
to
night.
BJ after, and he was like, man, that was frightening.
Yeah, that was one of our best performances. I think because we knew, remember like 10 years
have it.
previous to that in a different band, that was our introduction, or my introduction to Zool's Evil Disco. It was like we won all this like university circuit shit and ended up in Toronto. They should roll in like 12 people, a guy painted silver playing a pot, jumping on tables and kicking people's beers
and a
over. You're
roller
like, well, go
skate
fuck
girl
yourself,
handed
you know?
out candy in the
So when we
crowd.
knew we were playing with them with Surrounded by Water, it's like we better blow the shit out. Like you know, this better be our best show because they hadn't played in many years too. That was like a kind of a comeback or
Was
a
Drake
bit of a
playing drums
reunion
with them?
show.
Yeah.
Because he would love any prog metal. He loves that stuff.
It was a wild night. That was a
I
fucking
saw
wild
Dre.
night.
loved you.
Last time I saw Dre, I think, was when I was going to see Mastodon. He came over to James Leacock's place, and that was the first time I had seen him in years. And immediately, the guy comes up to me. He's like, "Jimmy, what's up?" Gives me the hugest hug. There's a talented guy that I would love to hear some stuff out of him. I wish he was still doing music. I don't know if he is. Maybe I'm just
not so much.
bit ignorant.
He's really involved in ironically like corporate training. He uses the power of Bugs Bunny to train people to overcome their fear of systems in large corporations. Bizarre thing, I know. And also an admitted Nickelback fan.
Go fuck yourself.
That's how honest he is.
You know what? I mean,
That's honest. That's honest. That's
Everybody
like
knows.
standing there and like in a locker
Yeah.
room and pulling down your pants and wearing
It's
like
I-
panties.
Yeah.
or Jay with
In a
his
room
thong.
full of musicians being like, I like Nickelback. You might as well say like, I hate every one of you guys.
He likes them the way he likes bad Metallica songs. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
You
No,
mean
you
like
don't-
off of Load and Reload?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. There's like, I don't know, maybe it's like, if you play, I guess we're all musicians in the room, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's just some shit that's almost offense, where you're just like over the years, there's always that one band where you're like, what the fuck? Even if you're not thinking of yourself personally, like all the hours you spend, of some dude or a band where you're like, that guy washes dishes somewhere and these motherfuckers are sleeping on like gold beds.
So to you, is Nickelback Scarface to you? Are they your Scarface? Like you need the bad guy?
Nickelback is more. Nickelback is the like. I woke up the next morning with like the biggest mistake of my life beside me.
The bear trap.
The herpes.
Right, yeah.
man.
Yeah. You gotta
Yeah.
chew your arm off to get away.
There's
Yeah.
just something about it where it's just like they're not even trying to not pretend to be just like, you know, these guys
No,
keep
you're
putting
also-
up these like, you know,
Okay.
parallel things where they put the one track on the left and the one track on the right.
Dan Broadback did that.
And
with
it's
actually
so
a couple
like
of
it's
Nickelback
so
songs,
similar
yeah.
where you're going like all you're trying to do is appeal to this like to the people driving home from work that have no musical sense. The radio plays your shit, so I go to the record store and I buy it. You know, and it's like, and then I put out an album that sounds exactly like the last one. If you're not growing as a musician, you're not a musician. You can learn how to play an instrument. That doesn't make you a musician. And if you somehow found a formula in your first album and 8 albums later, you have not deviated from that at all, like that's your prerogative,
It
but
comes
that's
back
not
to
you're not a
what's-
musician, you're not an artist if you're doing that.
It's a very safe play. It's not a risky play.
But when you hit
Again,
a
it
10
comes
when you have
back to-
$10 million in the
to
bank,
this.
if you actually had a pocket full of tricks and you're now independently wealthy, if there was good Nickelback, that shit would be happening now. Where they just go, "Oh, Mrs. Secretary driving home doesn't like it. I don't care anymore. I'm wealthy."
So Nickelback's due for a great record, is what you're saying.
If they had one.
So everybody knows how I feel about Nickelback. I mean, it's
I
well
know. I'm so
documented,
sorry we got-
and it's okay. It's okay. Listen, if you know you like Nickelback, that's okay. I'm just not going to hang out with you.
Right.
But no, I'm
Or
just,
listen to
don't
a fucking word you say.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Don't invite
And-
us to
and
your
all-
Nickelback party.
And listen, the exception, the fundamental exception that I take with a band that has a formulaic approach like that, and we're going to get to some music here in a minute, but just
They are
just
just an example.
they
We're
are,
just
they are
using
an,
them as
they are
an
an
example.
but it's because of bands like that that the music industry and record companies now has software that determines the commercial viability of a band based on templates from bands like Nickelback that have proven success with sales and marketing and all that kind of stuff. So nowadays they don't even necessarily listen to your music, and if they do, they can usually tell within the first 15 to 20 seconds. But they pump this music into this software, and it determines your commercial viability, and based on the results of that is what they use, not necessarily to make their decision, but to support their decision whether or not they're going to sign your band or support your single. And
Yeah.
so
If your square doesn't fit in their circle,
yeah,
then you're
and
not
the
getting it.
problem that I have with that is, and I'm old school. Yes, I get it. I had an 8-track, but back.
We're talking reel to reel though, not the thick.
No,
tape.
no, I
yeah.
had the thick.
I had the
thickie.
thick-
I had the cassette adapter that went into the 8-track.
Holy shit!
Yeah, and then I
These
plugged
guys
in
are
a.
like,
then
what?
yeah, imagine a car that has a
An
8-track player
Yeah.
with a cassette adapter in the 8-track, so you could play cassettes. But then the cassette adapter plugs into a portable CD player.
It has a record player
Yeah.
that attaches to a potato.
So maybe I'm old school, but when I think about to those classic bands and a lot of the artists that I love and the ones that were avant-garde, I guess, for lack of a better term, and through caution of the wind and didn't really give a fuck about what anybody else thought. And we're
Sheiky
kind of
Booty is a great
we're-
example.
we're-
Frank Zappa,
and that's
Sheiky
actually
Booty.
the
and doing
exact
their own
definition
thing.
for
And
that
do you
term.
think that they were sitting there going, "Well, I better make sure that this is verse, chorus, bridge, double chorus, outro"?
It's way too complicated.
No,
Chorus,
yeah,
chorus,
exactly.
chorus, chorus,
Exactly.
my friend.
Exactly.
And we go out on a soft chorus.
Exactly. And so, I'm for me, music is, it's intrinsic, but music, if you're a musician and you're going to play music because you love to play music. Don't play music because you're trying to make $1 million, because you know what? It's probably not going to happen. I mean, I want to read here before we cut to some music, and I think, this summed up a lot for me, and how I feel about the current state of music and the devaluation of music. And this, you might have seen this. This was a quote by Vince Gill. And I know a lot of people have seen this, so forgive me for if you've already heard this. So I quote him: "The devaluation of music and what it's now deemed to be worth is laughable to me. The single cost 99 cents. That's what a single cost in 1960. On my phone, I can get an app for 99 cents that makes fart noises, the same price as the thing that I create and speak to the world with. Some would say the fart app is more important. It's an awkward time. Creative brains are being sorely mistreated." Think about that for a second, okay? In the app world, and you can go and you can spend $1, $2, $3 into something that for some people is more significant than spending 99 cents on a piece of music that somebody really took the time, and years of you know, putting in, you know, how many hours did you run home like me as a drummer after school and bang out on your drums before your parents got home so they didn't freak out, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we spend that
How
time.
long you have to suck just before you even are like
Before you can
listenable.
even hit a snare drum
Right,
correctly.
and so now
even any instrument
Just
before you
one
can
hit.
even before you're not offensive.
So forget all that. So you spent those years, you know, developing your skill. Okay, now you get together with a band, and you know, if you're like any bands that I've been in, sometimes you with some strong personalities. You know, in your case, you got two, so maybe it's a little easier. But you got, you know, 3, 4, 5 guys that are all
you're both
trying to
dicks
come
and it's really
together.
hard.
And you know, ego. Whatever you want to say about ego, it does play into it, especially in your formative years as a band, right? Because there's everybody's motives are different. Sometimes people want to play music because they want to get the chicks. Sometimes they want to play it because they
Ego's
want to
not
play
always
the
a
great
bad
show.
word, though, right? It's
No,
what
it's
drives
not.
No,
us.
absolutely not.
It's not. So, you know, you spend all this time and all this effort and into honing your craft, and then you get to a point where you throw your stuff up on iTunes, and now it's 99 cents, right? But like Vince Gill said, you know, 99 cents, and you can get the Fart app, and you know, some people get more enjoyment out of that.
You
know,
brought up some stuff that
That's a buzzkill for sure.
is an entire master's degree. Jimmy, you bring me back, and I will tell you the roots of this entire problem you describe. It starts in the 30s with something called the Radio Project, Theodore Adorno, the president of CBS, the People Meter. It's played all the way up here. They've seen it coming. Music suffers from a generational dumbing that Adorno talks about before the birth of television, let alone the internet.
All right,
And I'd
well-
love to do a whole show with you.
Oh, you know what? We can certainly do that, but I think we need to get to some music.
It's a great time to play the Venicens. This is exactly the sort of song where you say, the mainstream probably won't want this.
And that's why you have an independent radio
So
show.
it's our way of
And we'll
saying
talk about these
mainstream.
guys when we come back, because they're wonderful community builders. They subscribe to an attitude that is collaborative, that creates value in their own city on a purely independent level. They're insane.
All right, this is the Venicens with Boom 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 here on the London Indie Underground.
Kaboom.
Boom, 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 boom. Gonna shoot you right down. Right off of your feet. Take it home with me. Ha, 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 ha. Ha, 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 ha. Ha, 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 ha. I love the way you walk. I love the way you talk. I whisper in my ear. When you tell me you want me. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Wah!
The Lone Clapper. That was the Venicens here on Boom Boom Boom, London Indie Underground. That was a live recording, obviously. Do you know where that came from?
I don't know where the recording came from. I know where they come from. There are two guys in Peterborough who, like I like to talk about how the best scenes in music didn't grow out in a bubble. They were scenes. Soundgarden had Pearl Jam, had Nirvana, had Mudhoney. You know what I mean? These kind of scenes come, and those scenes don't come from anywhere. And these two guys, Al Racuno and Big Daddy, and Neil Lorenzen, are one guy's an elementary school principal, the other one's a barbecue restaurant. And they just find every way they can in little towns like Keene, Ontario, or Orono, or all of the towns on the Highway 15 on the way to Peterborough, and in Peterborough, to make opportunities for bands to play. They operate a label called Bare Knuckle Records that they take over small venues that really aren't music venues, and they make them into music venues over the course of years. A very long-run approach. I know it doesn't sound like it, but they've been together 10 years. You listen to that track and you think they'd have their act together by now. And they really do have their act together. I mean, they're chasing this sort of R.L. Burnside sort of aesthetic, this, an old dance hall kind of rockabilly sensibility, but
that makes a great point, though, because I was going to mention that earlier. What I don't hear about now, and maybe I'm just out of the loop, but when I was younger and always playing in bands and playing music, there would be artists would rent those locations and have their own show,
Exactly.
and it was constantly remember Ian
Fred,
Caruso,
yeah.
Fred, they would get 5 bands together, they'd rent a place and they'd fill it,
Well, this is it. The
you don't hear
Venicens
that
aren't
very often.
technical. They're not going to go out and wow you with how they have chops. So they seek what I like to call an integrative solution rather than a distributive one. And distributively, we make a pie, we cut it into pieces. But their approach to not being that technical is to go and just encourage better bands to always be playing and to build a better scene that they're intrinsically a part of so that they always have a place to play and bands to play with. And it's such a positive sidestep of the way things are usually done. And it's these kind of elements. And
It's the altruistic, doing it for the love.
They build communities, and they love to be in places with music. So if you're not going to, don't complain about the government if you don't vote. Let's get some music.
All right, yes, because I'm doing the pee dance over here. I'm not going to lie.
Which is nothing like the neutron dance.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Not burning.
No.
It's not a burning sensation.
Is that a Pointer Sisters reference?
It is.
Yes, it is.
It's an indie podcast.
Yes.
Damn it.
We're not playing the Pointer Sisters. I'm
Not
sorry.
again.
No.
It's not
Actually,
that
I'm going to
exciting.
spin some Mercy Now. This is Lonely Week. They have a video for this online. Actually, you can check it out. This is Mercy Now on the London Indie Underground.
Give her.
Hit our house and we're
the Mercy Now with Lonely Week here on the London Indie Underground. You've probably heard them previously. We've been spinning them in the last couple of weeks. Good buddy of mine is the drummer for that band. Check him out, themercynow.com. Got 2 albums out. That's from a cut from the original debut, which, if I'm not mistaken, was 2010. And it's called Self-Control. And they've got a new album out, which is called Love Battles, an EP produced by Ian Blurton. Make sure you go and check it out. Great band.
Have you played any of Lee's stuff?
Not yet. I haven't received any of it.
He hasn't sent anything?
No, he's, as a matter of fact, it's off to mastering right now. So once it gets back from mastering, I'm going to be spinning it. My my buddy Lee Rogers, who played in a band. Drummer of the Mercy Now is a multi-instrumentalist, guitar player, bass player, you name it. The guy does everything. And he's been working with Ian Blurton, who played with Come On, produced Change of Heart was, I think, the
that was his big band.
That was the big band that he did. But he's been working with Lee in his studio, Pro Gold, in Toronto for a number of months now, and finally coming to a head here. And we're going to be putting out some stuff, so we're just waiting to get some masters, and we can spin that for you, which is brilliant. You know, think Peter Gabriel meets Wings meets Zappa.
Yeah,
He's just another guy that
Yeah.
lives for music.
Yeah.
Like who would literally works like 10 to 12-hour work days at his job and probably spends more time in a week at his studio. Like somehow.
Crazy.
He just lives for it.
He survived on Red Bull for a long time.
Serious. I've just never known, like, even like as far as like songwriting or anything. It's funny because even when I heard he was playing drums for Mercy Now, I'm like, impossible. Because as a front, I played in a band with him when he was the front man,
Right.
and it was like he had a really strong opinion, you know. Like if you had an
It's
idea,
like a Phil Collins.
if you had an idea in that band, you had to kick the fucking door down to get it in, right? So to have him as a drummer, it seemed like completely.
And this is exactly what I
polar
experienced
opposite.
when I saw George Leach and Marty Ballantyne. You're describing this guy's your Marty Ballantyne. And when I saw him backing up this guy, George Leach, I thought, how did you do that? Like, how? I know exactly what you're describing.
It just seems so strange. It's like for a guy that, if you didn't see Lee for a week in like when we were playing in a band together, Jim, Lee, and our friend Tim, it was like he would have like 5 to 10 songs, or at least like huge. He was one of those guys that would come with like full songs and half of your ideas. It's like, and I don't even mean that in a bad way.
No,
you know
I
what I
know.
mean? It's just
Yeah.
like he
He's
has
prolific.
such a visual, like he has such an idea. It's like, you know, it's like you hear of guys that like, you know, carve things and they're like, you know, they can see it within the chunk, you know.
Yeah, right.
He seems like one of those guys. He's like, I hear it and I hear like the bass would sound like this, the
Right.
drums would sound like this. I'm going to sing like this, you know. So it was weird to hear him, you know, as the drummer, where you always hear, you know, they'd always say like, what do you say to the drummer, or why did the drummer get fired? It's like, what did he say to get fired? Was always like, hey, I have this song idea. You know, it's like that's
Yeah. It's like the only part of music you can't copyright is the drums.
right. So to have a guy go from like
Being
total
the creative
control
influence.
to like
Right.
almost like the backbeat, like the drums are, you know, an essential element, but you don't
They're
think
the
of
law.
the drummer as the guy that's like laying down the.
It's true.
You know
Yeah,
how
so
it's going to
the
go
Phil
down.
Collins.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the rare occasion.
rare
right?
occasion.
Like, super rare.
But the drummer is the law. For all you bands out there that don't know how to relate with your rhythm sections yet, all you front men who just do whatever the f- you want, and all you
You can
guitar
say fuck on
players
the show.
who love to soar ahead of the beat, there's one rule: the drums are the law, the sheriff is the marshal, and that's how it is. And if you want to get drunk in town, you get drunk by their rules.
You can't see me right now, but I got 2 thumbs pointed at myself.
I'll tell you
I'm
something.
the law.
I proved the other day on YouTube with that former, or it's the sober song, you know,
Oh,
but like
right.
where it's like, if you're a great singer with a shitty band, you ain't shit. Because
Exactly.
we found this video on YouTube, Maynard, and it's like a lot of the vocal stylings and everything are sober, like the
Yeah, it's
song
from this-
Sober
yeah.
from Tool, which is an absolute
Yeah.
fucking awesome song.
Absolutely.
But in this context, it's like laughable.
Oh, with
you
a
know what I
loose
mean?
band,
You're like, if
heavy
you don't have the
things are not
band,
heavy.
yeah,
Heaviness comes from not from the gain and the you know, all the blood and the imagery. It comes from the kick drums and the bass notes and the guitars hitting at the same time.
yeah.
It
When
comes
everything
from
locks in,
tightness.
it's way heavy.
That's why
Tightness
soul is heavy.
Tightness
the same
is
way.
heavy. Yeah.
That's why these you know, great soul records move us, and they're clean as a whistle.
Mm-hmm.
They're just tight
and
as hell.
stand the test of time.
Rage
Like, you
is
can
heavy
hear
because of
all
that.
old albums and they sound awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like thick sounds, the wall of sound. You know, you're doing it all in the room. Like
Heaviness is tightness. Like I fully believe that.
Well, Rage
Totally.
Against the Machine, like fuck, a band that plays minimal notes,
Yeah.
but fucking perfectly tight,
Without tight, you
freaking heavy.
You got
yeah,
nothing.
Like
and that's
heavy.
one of the scariest concert experience. Lollapalooza, 250,000 people. They had to stop the show a few times, and this is only like 5 years ago. This is like the reunion
Yeah.
version of them, where you know, there's like they're having to say like, listen, seriously, everyone has to take a step back, or we're not playing another fucking note, because it becomes this like transic
Yeah, the
thing,
wave.
and everyone keeps moving slowly forward,
Mhm.
and next thing you know, if you're in the first 100 rows, you're getting crushed. The people in the back want to be you.
Yep.
You know, and they kept
Yeah.
having to, because it is that. It's this
Yep.
driving, you know, the tightness of the band. Like a lot of those riffs are just down-tuned 2 and 3 note riffs.
Oh, absolutely.
But they're so heavy in
Oh,
their
yeah. You
simplicity.
Just follow the law.
And when you
Obey
see
the law.
when you see the wave,
Speaking of the law, I'm
Yeah.
in charge. I'm going to spin some music. All right? So y'all shut up. Hey, you guys shut up. I'm just kidding. I do need to spin
it.
some music, though, and one of the bands that sent in a track, which I'm not sure if they're listening right now, is a band called Messes and Miracles. I didn't mess up their
Correct.
name this time, although I said it last time
You did.
correctly, and they
Yeah, yeah.
still said I didn't. But
Yeah.
Ski
Either
gang.
It's not
way,
going to get played next time.
yeah. But I didn't spin this one the last time. This is a different track they sent me in twos. So this is Messes and Miracles with Below the Brine here on London Indie Underground.
I will dive right in, sink below the brine. I will lay right here, tell you all it's fine. Swim till there's no light coming from behind. Lighting up your eyes, lighting up your life. I fall too fast to remember, but lighting up your eyes, lighting up your life. I fall too fast to remember, but lighting up your eyes, I'm lighting up your life. And I will never let it go away. Hold on to everything I say and wait for. I'll sing below the brine. Wait for. I'll beat you deep below the sea. It'll just be you and me. It will just be who we are. I will fit right in, shipwrecks of the deep. I will lay right here, and I will go to sleep. I will dream about the world I left behind, but I will not return. I will be just fine. I fall too fast to remember, but I'll sink below the brine. Wait for. I'll meet you deep below the sea. It'll just be you and me. It'll just be who we are. Wait for. I'll sink below the brine. Wait for. I'll meet you deep below the sea. It'll just be you and me. And we'll just be who we are. I'll meet you deep below, deep below. I'll meet you deep below the sea. is fine.
Messes and Miracles on here on the London Indie Underground. You know, it was funny because I was saying while we were offline, I'm like, well, I have to play these guys because, you know, my mom really liked them the last time. And then sure enough, I got a text message from my sister. Mom wants this song. So it worked. I knew it.
Happy birthday.
You know, a little softer edge
Simon
tonight.
and
Last
Garfunkel.
Joel, you were saying the last time you were here, we were mostly metal.
It was a lot of metal last time. You're making moms happy. This
A
week.
lot of metal.
Yeah, we were saying there was a similarity to a Simon and Garfunkel song.
The lie, la, lie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. I've got more.
Similarity is what you're, it sells music.
Actually, you know, I'm in the same vein. I'm going to spin another band. With my buddy Jagger Benham plays in this band. It's called the High School Sweethearts. And they got a show coming up. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But, do you know these guys? Why are you holding your hand up
No,
like
no,
that?
no. I didn't know that he was in that band.
Jagger?
I know Anne.
I don't know Ann. I know Jagger.
Anne, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong. Moniz. She was in a few different bands that I've shot, and I've known her for years, and I've just recently found out about the High School Sweethearts, and I didn't know that he was in the band. That's awesome.
He just joined it, actually.
That's awesome.
He and Nick, who are both members of Lock and Key, which are still a functioning band, which I mentioned they had a scare. They thought they had lost one of the members, but they pulled it back together. Anyway, they both joined.
Where did they lose him?
To the dark side.
Oh, okay.
Probably they're with a white guitar
Yeah.
somewhere. And a lot of single socks. Yeah.
I always hear, "Oh, we lost a band member." Well, where'd you leave him?
Dummy check, guys.
Yeah.
Bring your band members back.
Well, we got all the equipment. Where's?
That's right.
I'm sure the quiet guy's been left behind.
Still at the gas station, heating up the burrito as the van leaves.
That's why you got to make the quiet guy drive.
Yeah.
So you can't leave without him.
All right, this is another laid-back track, but we're going to spin this. This is the High School Sweetheart with To the Moon here on the London Indie Underground.
I am not fond of his work. He's just a boy who's good with his hands. I am not fond of his work. He's just a boy who he's a sailor. Keep riding on the tide, keep riding on the tide. Though he's a failure, keep holding on to him. Keep my apron tight, keep holding on.
High School Sweetheart with To the Moon here on London Indie Underground. Incidentally, they're going to be playing this Friday at Robinson Hall, Thorny Devil, for a United Way charity event. So if you like what you heard, you're into the acoustic sounds, obviously some talented people with some great harmonies, you got to go and check it out.
That upsets me because I won't be in town.
Where will you be?
I'll be in Brantford.
Gotcha. So listen, I want to take this opportunity. We got a couple of tracks left here to spin and a little bit more conversation. But before we do that, I want to take an opportunity to thank some of our sponsors. First and foremost, it's about time, Steve. You're actually here when I do the whole plug. Need to thank the Submission Academy Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, located at, what's your address?
1010 Dundas Street.
1010. I think I said 1018 and 1055, so I might have sent people to the wrong place.
People
I'm
getting
sorry.
choked out in the wrong rooms.
Exactly. They try to choke out some sushi place guy. I don't know. So, Submission Academy, one of our sponsors here. And, Steve, I can't thank you enough because, anytime that I've needed any help getting any of this stuff off of the ground, and let me tell you, it's not easy to do, when you're a lone guy trying to navigate through this podcast world within a recording studio. But that said, when you have good friends that are there to help you, it makes it that much easier. And I want to thank you for everything you contributed. And, if you happen to be looking to maybe not train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, maybe that's not what came into your mind, but maybe you were looking for a new and exciting way to get in shape. Let me tell you, everybody that I know that has gone to see you, and I've referred a couple of people right now, has really got it hooked on what you guys are doing down there at the Submission Academy. Most people associate Jiu-Jitsu, and I've said this before, with combat sports, but truth is, the whole reason that it was created was to give the smaller man an advantage in the event of a fight or a confrontation. And although you're not going to go outside and see people doing jiu-jitsu on the street, somebody putting somebody in a triangle choke here at Adelaide and Princess, but if you go to their gym, it's going to give you an opportunity to to get in shape through some work ethic that you may not have experienced before. You're definitely going to get in shape. You're going to learn something new, and I guarantee you're going to have a lot of fun. How long have you guys been at that location right now, Steve?
A little over a year. I think we moved last June. We'll be open for 2 years, as an official business between the two locations. January 1st. We had an open mat New Year's Day, I guess almost 2 years ago.
That's where it started.
Yeah. Well, technically it started in my backyard. I was doing private classes on mats that I bought in the grass in my backyard, and then that just kind of segued to subletting from a karate school, and then now where we are.
Right on. I got to tell you, man, I'm really proud of what you guys have accomplished down there, because I've seen you kind of work through this for some time now, and you guys are clearly getting to a point now where you're really starting to branch out, and you're starting to look at this long term. Yeah, and I mean that's always the goal when you get into business.
I would say I definitely had a goals set, and we've pretty much doubled them as we've gone. It's been all good so far.
That's amazing.
I'm curious about the open mat. So you just open the door and somebody walks in on the street and says, "I want to try this out," and then you choke them out, and then they go, "It's perfect, I'll take it." What?
Well, no. Basically, what I do is the first time I'll have someone come in and probably it depends. Because the thing is, that's a lot of people look at it it's a martial art or it's for fighters. I have everything from I have guys that are almost 50 that are there because they're they just are interested in the moves.
Are they conscious when they sign the contracts, or do you do it after?
You know what? The only we have everything from crazy animals training for competition. I teach MMA fighters privately as well. But classes, we have everything from we have
you have kids
teenagers.
Classes, yeah.
We have kids all the way up, right? We have from 4 to probably 50 is our age group.
I've said this before, and I'll say it again now, that I am more than willing to go in and get thrown around and have you guys film it for whatever.
I want you to come in and take pictures now that I've seen all your pictures.
I am not
Show.
I am not an athletic person. I do not work out. I'm lazy.
Do I
I'm
hear a new
lazy.
salads
I
video?
like beer. I like to sit on my couch. But I'll go in. What is this open mat? Whatever. I'll go in. Throw me around.
Well, the first class is free, right, Steve?
Yeah.
First class
So if
free.
people are interested in coming
Yeah.
in and taking jiu-jitsu, the first class is free. And Steve's school is accredited. He has an affiliation with Robert Drysdale, which is based out of Las Vegas, who there's a number of UFC fighters that actually train and prepare for their fights with Robert Drysdale. So, Steve's taken the time and has developed a curriculum. But the first class is free. So when you come out, he's probably going to choke the shit out of you. Let's be real. Well, maybe not him.
Let's be realistic.
That's
here.
okay.
Oh, maybe not. Maybe.
Just don't pop any of my eyeballs
New
out.
people don't end up in that situation. Our fundamentals class just shows like basic movements involved in the warm up. It's like a slow integration. We basically bring you from like infancy to man or womanhood. It's not like we don't throw you in with the animals on the first day.
I
Well,
imagine
think about it. Think about
two
it.
guys
If it was
show
like-
up.
If it was
Keeps
any other,
bringing up animals. What's
Well,
this
because I
animal?
have guys that train 8 days a week, like 4 hours, and go crazy, and will crawl off to fucking puke and come back. So when you're referring to someone like that next to someone that
Yeah.
comes twice a
Oh,
week
I don't
to
know,
learn
honey.
how to choke somebody with their jacket, there's
Yeah.
a different breed. There's
right? I mean,
different
I'm an
people.
infant.
it would be the same thing if you went to like a karate class. The first class is free, and you got punched in the face like 30 times.
You'd
You know what I
never
mean?
wanna go
Yeah,
back.
exactly.
Right.
So I mean, they obviously the integration piece is, as much as it is, learning an art and learning, the moves and the form. It's about having fun too.
Yeah,
Right,
right.
and-
That's our whole vibe. Is like we go for birds of a feather flock together. You get a good vibe together. The idea is exercise. It's self-defense, sport. It's like people refer to it as like human chess because of the, like you can look at it specifically as that. It's a chess match. It's not a fight. It can be, obviously. You can choke somebody out, but there's different elements to it, right? You take from it what you want, and it's we're sitting here as musicians.
Yeah.
This is jazz, right?
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
show everyone the same chords, but you're all going to write completely different things with it. It's that type of thing.
Yeah.
It's not karate. You have to do this form like this. It's like, here's some moves, but there's an infinite amount of movement.
variation
Your
within
body,
it.
there's a million moves you're going to make.
That's sexy.
What if your
The way
knee
you
is
describe
there?
that
What
is
if your
sexy.
elbow is there?
Sure.
What if this? What if this? So it's an infinite amount of moves. It's a chess match. Every jiu-jitsu match amongst good players is a linked series of techniques that lead to a finished result. I don't get an armbar by grabbing your arm. I grab your collar that leads you to grab my hand, that leads me
Connected
to
to
put
the-
my hips there, that does this, that does that.
Right.
It's not two people going nuts. It's a very intelligent
Strategic.
sport.
It's strategic.
Very, yeah. It definitely you see guys that aren't very athletic destroy athletes at this sport.
When you say open mic night or
I'm not
open mat
athletic
night,
at
That's
all.
for athletes.
I'm
Open mat is for
destroyed.
athletes. Open mat is I invite. We have almost like yoga has like karma classes. I invite local jiu-jitsu players with grappling experience
Right.
on Sundays to come to my school.
and that's your open
like,
mic.
That's like instructors from other schools come and train with us, and guys, it's just different people.
I
go.
thought you'd bring in two people off the street who want to join the gym, and the winner gets to join, and the other guy try next year. Sorry, pal.
Yeah, I was gonna say bump fights.
Only one of you motherfuckers gets to leave.
We got one spot, guys.
When he
Sorry.
gets the Hungry Man dinner, and the other one he gets a road. It's like,
Does Rufus the stunt bum hang out there
yeah.
too?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Are you gonna? I would be glad to videotape this, Jay, if you were serious about
Yeah,
going.
yeah,
in.
no, I'm serious. Let's go.
Okay, let's do
Let's
it.
go.
Let's do it. And we can air that actually because we have the capability of running a video podcast. We
I
can
hear
do
a
that
new
sort of
salads
thing.
video in the works.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a perfect update to the Lucky Day video or what was their video with the fighter?
Yeah, that was it.
Wouldn't that be a perfect modernization?
He's eating the
to-
pie. No, it wasn't. It was a pie eating.
It was
contest.
a pie eating contest. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Now they'll do MMA.
Thanks for the plug, Jim.
No, man. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, you've been, like I said, you've been a huge support to us, and anything I can do to help you guys out, and it's evident very quickly, anybody that will speak to you about your school and about what you're doing, that you're passionate and you're committed to your students, right? Because it's one thing to run a school, it's another to make it tangible for people, right? Because like I said, it would be too easy to come out and you get choked out real quick and you're like, fuck this, I'm going home, right? But I've known you a long time, man, and you're a fun guy, right? So and I can see you making that fun, and I've seen the pictures too of your kids' class, and you guys are making some crazy faces.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like a lot of fun. And if you've got some kids actually, and you happen to be listening to this, and you're looking for a means for them to to learn a martial art and to get in shape and
Just
to
get
learn
off the
learn
couch.
some discipline, get off the couch. Yeah. I mean, bring them on down. Like I said, first class is free if you're interested. Go check it out. Incidentally, Brent from Staylefish has been training with you now for a while.
First tournament this weekend.
Yeah, and I made the referral, and let me tell you, every time those of you that know Brent know that this is a pretty intense man to begin with. But every time I see him now, and we start talking about jiu-jitsu, he gets more and more amped up to the point where I think he's going to choke me out. So, obviously he's addicted. He loves it, and he can't say enough good things about your club. And knowing Brent the way that I do, I mean, that speaks volumes for me. So, good on you, buddy. Well done.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyways, that was a plug.
Take that, society.
And I wanted to take an opportunity to thank my buddy Scotty Finlayson, a.k.a. Scotty Fairmont. If you don't know this guy, he's just an awesome dude. He started up his own business, branched out, fullcolorcards.ca, hooked us up with some spiffy business cards. Great job. If you're looking for a good deal and just a good dude to bounce some ideas off of. He's a graphic designer. This is a guy you want to go see. I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's not just about business. It's about the people that are running that business and whether or not you can connect with them and whether or not you identify with them and whether or not you think they're a good person. I mean, how many times have you been to a business that somebody's recommended to you where the guy's a douchebag? Not very often. Usually it's, hey, you want to go and see this guy? He's a great dude. Go and see him. He's
Trust
definitely going to hook you up.
And
Last
he's
but not
handsome.
least,
Scotty Finlayson's handsome.
he is a handsome dude. Handsome dude. Last but not least, Gary.
Hey.
Mr. Shirt for Brains himself.
Yep. I have no voice. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, you know what? It's okay, man. We kind of let you off the hook today. Normally you're batting clean up for me, but today I'm happy to cover the spread for you.
Thanks, man.
It's all good. So, Shirt for Brains, custom screen printing. I've known Gary for a very long
Great
time.
Sport reference. That'll go undetected on the podcast, but that was a beautiful display between you.
But
Batting clean up.
I've known you for a long time.
Yep.
And ever since I've known you, I remember you had started out your screen printing. I know you were operating out of your garage, and I've seen your business grow and grow and grow. And I know that in a lot of things you specialize in. One of the things that you do a lot of is band T-shirts, and you support with graphic design. You've done a number of things for me.
Yep.
And the one thing that I've known about you right from the beginning is that you're an indie guy and you're a scene guy and you're looking to support, and which is all the more reason why I wanted to have you as a part of this podcast, not, just because you can hook me up with some swag, but, obviously being a good dude and wanting to give back to the community. And, if you are in a band, you happen to be looking to get some swag done up, some T-shirts, this is the guy you want to go see. I've known this guy a very long time, and, one of the nicest dudes I've ever met, and he delivers on his product. I mean, he showed up here, done T-shirts for my band, done T-shirts for the London Indie Underground. You showed up last week with a bunch of them, which I really appreciate, and we actually gave away a good chunk of them.
Good chunk are gone.
So, which is awesome. But anyways,
We did I did the Dyadics stuff for them as well. I've been doing all their merch since the beginning, and the Marrieds actually. Jane and Kevin, we worked with them and did up all their stuff as well.
Right, and if you get at this guy,
Surprised that band was, man.
if you email Gary info@shirtforbrains.ca. And mention London Indie Underground, and he'll hook you up.
Yep,
because that's how we do.
We'll do something. We'll do something special.
That's what we do.
Yep.
Around these pots. Yeah.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Yeah, no worries, brother. I'm glad to help out.
Yep.
Anybody that is going to take the time to support me, I'm more than happy to return the favor, man. It's all karma. So listen, I'm going to spin a track here. This is a band called Baker Kane. Not sure if you're familiar with them, but we spun them last week. My buddy Barry Neatby, which is going to be one of our indie spotlight bands coming up pretty soon. This is Baker Kane with Almost Everything on the London Indie Underground.
is wasted right now. Thought to you coming through and I brought around back almost everything to a dead end, and I just can't take it right now. Thoughts of you coming through almost everything. Oh, well, it's almost everything. Thoughts of you coming through and I brought around back almost everything. Oh, well, it's almost everything. Yeah, it's almost everything. Thoughts of you coming through and I brought around back almost everything. Yeah, almost everything. Oh, well, it's almost everything. Thoughts of you filter through me now.
Baker Kane with almost everything here on the London Indie Underground. We spun those cats last week, and if I'm not mistaken, my buddy Barry's got a show coming up here at Norma Jean's. I know he's got a couple of projects on the go, but if I'm not mistaken, he's going to be playing. Let me see. I'm just pulling up his Facebook page here.
Everyone's playing at Norma Jean's, huh?
Well,
they've had a consistent.
yeah.
They do get like a fairly consistent shows through there.
So the draw has come away from the downtown and it's moving up to Masonville. Is that the idea?
Well,
You know, I moved here 10 years ago and they'd have good shows though,
Huh.
but they'd be poorly attended.
And
Like,
yet,
that's-
is Old Chicago's is no longer?
No, it's gone.
No,
It's
What a
now
shit.
up on Carling or something else now.
Okay.
yeah, they play jazz there or something now.
Yeah, that used to be the place
Or
to go.
Yaz.
To see the guys with chops,
Mhm.
to see the best players in town, you went
Right.
to Old Chicago's,
That's right.
and that's
I
where
heard
the
that
blue
and I
guys.
missed it.
Yeah.
that
No, I
was
went a few
that was a
times.
swinging scene when they had it. But then you noticed over the years that between bands, when they put the music on, more people would dance. So tastes change, times change. We can't all.
This Saturday, October the 27th, Norma Jean's River City Ransom, which is Barry Neepy's band, is going to be spinning some tracks from the stage, not from a podcast.
Plug
I
the
always
salads.
say spinning some tracks now,
Yeah.
but performing some songs.
Throwing out some zeros
yeah,
and ones.
yeah, exactly. And they're going to be doing a trick or treat from the stage.
Oh wow!
So if you got some
salads
kids,
at Norma Jean's?
That's
November
recent.
9th.
Norma Jean's.
November 9th.
November
Norma
9th,
Jean's.
the salads.
I haven't heard enough about that.
You know, I've been trying to put it out there through Twitter, because you go to the Norma Jean's Facebook invite, and I mean, they've got some people showing as attending right now, but I don't think it's reflective of what the actual numbers are going to
You
be.
know, Facebook, if 500 people say they're going, you're going to get 30 people there. So.
Yeah.
Right.
30 people have said they were going to go,
But I
it's
think
all the
this
rest
has
of
actually
people are
gone
like,
the other
"Fuck
way.
that. I'm there.
Just saying.
I hope so.
You know what? I'm going to take a second here. I've got the Christopher Walken soundboard up.
Wait, way to sneak it up on us there.
Hey, you
big,
I'm
big
not
surprise.
Sneaky like that.
Segue.
I'm just gonna sneak up behind you now.
Yeah. Here's one of my favorites.
I put my pants on, just like the rest of you, one leg at a time. Except, once my pants are on, I make gold.
Gold records.
That's pretty much exactly what we do down here at the Vault Recording Studio. We make gold records.
We put our thongs on one leg at a time.
Oh,
Why is
only
there no-
Jason.
Why is there no Volt? Why is there no Volt plug?
What do you mean? there's
Man,
no
you
Vault
guys are
plug?
kicking some shit here. Wait till that new Staylefish comes out.
Well, this is the London Indie Underground.
It is, but you're not exclusively playing things recorded out of here, and I think you're definitely onto something. Anyway, from what I've heard, I mean, from like I've recorded myself here as well, but like that new Staylefish album's awesome.
Well, actually, why don't we cut that then? Why don't
Yeah,
we?
do it.
Why don't we?
Yeah,
spin it?
definitely play some stuff.
I've
sure.
I've spun it.
Are we allowed?
Are we allowed to hear it?
Are you allowed
Yeah.
to do that?
Well,
It
you know
sounds
what? I
really-
want to sneak one in that.
Are you sure? The
Should we
last time you,
Should we tweet someone or something?
I let it out of the bag, and they didn't look happy.
What?
When you, the world might as well know that I heard some of a song
Of what?
of the Staylefish.
I've heard a bunch of it.
Oh, you've already okay. So I've heard some of it too,
He's home team,
and it was
right,
pretty
so-
blown away. It was pretty great. And then
Yeah,
Jimmy
this shit is
mentioned
like-
when we ran into them, or I mentioned, hey, I heard something. It sounded great, and they all looked at Jimmy like, "You betrayed us." And it
You
was.
know what? I don't know if I should sneak this in or not.
I don't know either,
So-
but like.
Well, I mean, all around the world they
seriously,
can
I
play
mean,
right
it's
now. which is
pretty
insane.
good.
Play that.
as kind of like you're digressing from the point though, but like the sound, like the band is awesome. Staylefish kicks the shit out of anything they've ever done, but like the sounds on that album are definitely like if that's indicative of what can be expected of coming here and recording,
You'll
it's
be well
probably gonna lead
captured.
to
Right
good
on.
things, man, 'cause
Hey
it
man,
sounds
these
awesome.
guys spin some good tracks.
And I mean, we've
Party
heard it
from
here in the
Scotty Puck
studio.
and Parter
I've
Schneid.
heard it at the gym because Brent, like Staylefish bass player, trains with me. So I've heard it at the stereo there. I've heard it in the studio, and I've heard it on the stereo at home. You know, it's like
Right.
it sounds awesome everywhere. It's completely professional. Like
Thanks,
it's-
man.
It rocks.
I dig it. I really want to spin. They have a single called Prisoner, which I really, really, really want to spin. But if I do spin it, I think Chad's going to be pissed. So instead, I'll just spin the current single, which is available right now on iTunes for 99 cents. So, you know, maybe don't buy the Fart app. You know, maybe buy Staylefish.
You know
maybe-
what? That's social commentary right there.
If you actually think that you
Seriously.
need the fart app,
We need 5 more hours.
you've got
to get
serious
into that.
issues.
Exactly.
Right, there's a free Fart app.
We
So
could book a
download the
whole
free
other
Fart
show.
app.
Yeah, exactly.
And pony up the 99 cents. I mean, for God's sake, a medium double at Tim Hortons now is $1.60, right? And this is, you know, a song that a band has taken the time. We've arranged it. They paid for the recording. We've done all this stuff. It's 99 cents going by. This is Staylefish all around the world on London Indie Underground.
You got your suitcase zipped and buckled, headed for the big city. Top down, mixing the sound between the speakers and the sun.
Staylefish with All Around the World here on the London Indie Underground. If you like the sounds of that, some grooving sounds, some old throwback Beach Boys, a little luau, go and check them out online. You can go to their website right now, staylefish.com, which will forward you to the various places where you can find their online content. That song, 99 cents. Go buy it. They like
London is got a good crop of locals right now. It's sort of at a high point, I think, as far as what's out there that is on the cusp of hopefully not moving too far away from London. But but there is a great crop of breakout bands right now, as there was when the Gandharvas were kicking around and we were kicking around and some of the other London talent was. You guys got to be thrilled to be cultivating this scene.
Well, it's great to see, too, at the same time, bands with some longevity. I mean, Staylefish have been around. I think their 10-year anniversary is coming up, if not already. So they've got 5 albums that they put out. And I believe, if I can speak on their behalf, to date, I think the new body of work and the stuff that we've been doing is the stuff that they are happiest about, most excited about. And that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. But this album, from a producer standpoint, having worked with them through this, I mean, it really spans a pretty wide scope that they were looking to do. And, I guess in some respects, I feel like this is maybe their farewell. I don't know. I hope not, because right. I think the music is great. But, that remains to be seen. The show was packed recently. They played really well. Right. So it'd be nice to see them follow up this effort with, maybe a bit of a tour. It's hard to say. The older we get, the more commitments we have in life, and sometimes it prevents us from maybe committing ourselves 100% to that. But there's nothing stopping you from playing those shows and being involved in the community and peddling your wares, I guess.
Even another record, if you can't get out there on the road, that's the downside of adulthood, but the upside of the technology, right? Like at least
you don't need to be on the road.
You can still put it out there.
Absolutely. You can cultivate a different sort of audience, and you can manage a different sort of way to expose yourself, and just look at the industry sideways and rethink the distance to the ear.
Someone has to. Like, I don't know, man. It's going to be an organic solution to the problem that is like this homogenized music scene. Like, there's no, you don't listen to rock, or it's so homogenized that maybe you like a bit of this, bit of that, because it's so formulaed that even if it's hip hop, it's metal, it's whatever, the formula remains the same.
Of course, it's 4/4 chorus, chorus.
But there has to be something else, you know, and every once in a while, at least someone deviates from the rhythm for a second.
Well, that will always be there in all of our communities, in all of our local clubs, from all of our buskers, from everything that isn't mainstream, everything that isn't through the mass. As the mass media takes less and less risk, we'll be more and more drawn away from the flame.
You know, I always say that's why I like reggae, man, because once in a while you gotta hit that shit on the upstroke.
Right, light up the darkness, man.
Off the fucking beat.
Exactly.
Can we get to some music here
Please.
again, quick? I want to spin a track from a gentleman. His name is Jamie Kuntz. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And Jamie sent me some acoustic tracks here a while back, and I've yet to get to them. But I got to say, every time I post up a tweet, he's one of the first ones that retweets us, and has really been a big support. So karma goes around, comes around. I'm going to spin this track for you, buddy. This is Muskoka Chair by Jamie Kuntz on the London Indie Underground.
Yeah, the old.
I came to pick you up from your little city home. You were standing there beside your Muskoka chair, lips round a cigarette, looking real classy. I wish that my lips could be that cigarette, but I know one day you'll just forget me. But I know one day you'll just forget about me. forgot. And I feel like an ass. Next time I'll call ahead and avoid this travesty. Now I know one day you'll just forget me. Now I know one day you'll just forget about me.
Jamie Kuntz with the Skoka Chair here on the London Indie Underground. Thank you for sending that track in. And if you have sent in a track, and I said before and I'll say it again, you know, we do have pretty significant library of music here that's been sent in. I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to send it in and supporting us, and we will get to your tracks, rest assured. I know that one's been kind of sitting on the back burner there for a while, but I'm glad to spin it for you. And kind of, you know, the night's kind of taken a bit of a dip here as far as the, you know, with previous podcasts we were, you know, rocking with the Cookie Monster metal.
Yep.
And then tonight we're about the acoustic jams, which is pretty cool. I like that too. And you had a great idea about you know, featuring some acoustic performers, props here in the vault. They were rocking the Dyadics, yeah.
Yeah,
The Dyadics.
the fact that it's two guys, I mean, that almost takes away from it, like knowing that, because you're expecting less or something. Because just listening to the CD, this is a great great band.
Well, now that I've heard it and I know that it's two guys, I really want to see them live. I want to know how they do it.
It's pretty cool. Like, I've seen some of the video stuff that they've done, and it's pretty impressive to watch Matt play drums and the bass pad at the same time, and not miss a beat. Like, it's pretty crazy just to see them go.
And beyond the spectacle of that too, you know, that's why I was saying, like, it almost takes away from it, because the CD, it's like the tracks that you played were like the tracks that you played were really good, you know, and it almost takes away because we're going like it's a two-piece, you know, like it's he's doing one hand with this, but like beyond that, it's just like these are great songs, you know, like I was saying to him, and it's I guess if you're him, it's probably a great compliment, because I said this would make me want to drive fast. Like when I'm hearing this, he's like, you know what? I said I wanted to make like a driving record. It's like, well, what the fuck? I guess you did, you know, because halfway through the first track I hear, you know, I picture myself. I'm like, if I was listening to this in a car, it would probably make me drive too fast.
Right. Car music still rules. This is why I pity the future, because there was always something about that feeling.
Pity the fools too?
Well, we're not going to drive as much in the future. Let's be honest. I mean, anybody who lives in a big city doesn't drive.
No.
I will pity the fools, but I'll pity those that don't get to drive and crank their tunes with the windows open. You know, they've already missed out on no seatbelts and smoking, so
Or riding a motorcycle without a helmet.
Yeah, sooner or later they won't be able to drive at all. So,
but the worst part in that, Joel, is the worst part, Joel, is when I'm like, you know, when I used to walk to the office at like, you know, 7 a.m. in the morning. And the guy would pull up beside you, and he'd have the house music going on at like 7 a.m. And I'm just like, really? Like, that's not
Honda Civic?
But the best feeling, like, you know how when you
trunk?
get your demo when you leave the studio, and the first thing you do is pop in your car, boom, and you're going home, and it's awesome. The best feeling in the world is when you hear someone else doing that with your demo.
Yeah.
Right.
When you go to an event and you give out your shit because you're street teaming and pressing and doing all the little things that help us create our own awareness before we had the technology. And somebody else is like,
I'll never forget, dude, going to Toronto and meeting with my buddies Lee and Tim, and I was driving a 1999 Dodge Caravan. And in my Dodge Caravan, I had my cassette adapter that connected to my portable CD player, and I brought these two guys. I'm like, listen, fuck, you got to come out to the van. You got to come out to the van. Headstrong, hoodies and hoods. Boom.
He just embarrassed me. That's what he did. I see what you did there.
You see what I did there?
I did.
I see what
clever.
you did.
You bastard.
Thanks.
All right, I'm going to spin another track. Actually, this is a band called the Vintage Hearts, who attempted to drop off their disc in person a couple of times, and we weren't able to connect. So they sent me the stuff electronically, although I believe they're still going to bring me a hard copy, because, you know, I like to open it up. I like to take a look at the sleeve.
Yeah,
I like to take it all in.
I miss all that.
Yeah. So, you know, if you're a band listening, you want to have your music featured, I mean, connect with me. Come by. You know, let's have a chat. I would love to see the packaging, the contents, everything. I mean, that's for me. That's a lot of the experience. When you open it up. I mean, I'll never forget like some of my favorite albums. That when I got them and the day I opened it, and I was flipping through the liner notes, and I mean that was as much of an experience as it was putting on that first song.
You spend an hour on the album cover before you put it on.
Yep.
You're like, I just need to make sure I've read every word.
Exactly.
Then I'll play the record.
All right, this is a song called "The Road" by the Vintage Hearts here on the London Indie Underground. The Vintage Hearts here on the London Indie Underground. And that concludes some of the acoustic element for the evening.
Yep.
Wanted to make sure I had some representation there, because, when bands send in tracks, when in Rome, you got to spin
Songs for the campfire.
Well, like
That's
you said,
right.
well, you'll have an acoustic evening one night. We'll do a whole acoustic evening.
That's a great idea. Want to take a second to thank some of our new Twitter followers. We got Sue and John and Mick, Nicole and Katie, Toneland Studios. Seems every time we do a podcast, we get a lot of traction on the Twitter, because we're on the twits, and on the old Facebook too. So thank you for all of you listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's BlackBerry is going off.
That's mine. The president needs me.
For?
It's funny how time flies,
it's
because
just
now
a
when I
fun
see
request.
someone with a BlackBerry, he might as well be over there typing on a fucking VIC-20 while you're on your laptop.
That's like the tantamount to a Zach Morris.
It's like he's gonna pull a fucking phone out that comes out of a bag.
That's
And he's gonna wind it
I recently
Great Canadian company, man.
You know what? You know what? Talking about
we need these guys.
I
They employ
thought-
30,000 people at Kingston. We'll get your water.
and all your if you're invested in Canadian index funds in any
Yeah.
way, you're also heavily invested in RIM technology.
Exactly.
But the thing is, I spent like many years saying that, and I had a BlackBerry and everything. But at a certain point, you have to say like, if you're polishing
know what,
the brass
man?
on the Titanic, you fucking start.
But my
spinning.
contract is up. So I'm not bound to anyone. I'm a free man in the cell phone market. All I got to do is hang on to my old lady. So I kind of got a friends with benefits arrangement with this phone right now, and I don't want to rock the boat too hard, sign into something for long term.
My wife
with a
went
new
from
girl
that to this, and she literally said it was like, it's
Why the fuck didn't I do that sooner?
yeah.
Right? You gotta dump that bitch.
you know what? I can't. What's she gonna do without me?
I was the same way. I'm like, I cannot run my business without BlackBerry. I cannot run my business. And then
But
I
what
got
are they
that
going
and
to
I
do
was
without
like,
me?
what the hell?
You know, if all the guys like me leave
Can't
them,
around
they got
VIC-20.
nobody.
They'll survive.
Can't around VIC-20.
And some Chinese kid will kill himself in a factory. Hope you guys feel good about your choices.
Wow, that's cold.
Yeah,
Play some
you
music.
take that.
That's cold as a witch's teat.
Taking up
And
my
that's cold.
BlackBerry here.
Are you playing any more tracks? Or we
Yeah,
wrapping
I'm gonna
this up?
spin one more, and I think we're gonna wrap this baby up. What do you think? So how should
Yeah.
we end? How should we end this off?
Give me a few quick hits. I'm going to tell you, bands
Play
out there, a
something
few
from this
things.
Yeah, well, it's true.
Play
Well,
something from
actually,
Headstrong.
When you guys out there in bandland start taking off, and you will, if you work hard and you aren't stupid, if you make enough noise and they come to you, as Henry Bogdan said, keep in mind that the people you meet along the way that are involved in your label and your publishing and your management, your career will likely be longer than your relationship with them. Presidents of record labels change. A&R people change. Product managers change. People get promoted. People get fired. Company gets bought. Companies get sold. You as an artist still remain. So make your choices based on what helps you and your plan for your future. And sometimes that'll mean compromise with your label. Sometimes it won't. But remember that your career will be longer with them or without them. And that's, I'm going to leave out there. I'll save the rest of my wisdom, if you can call it that, my moose head.
Diatribe.
so you didn't bring any
for
chicken
next
this time, man.
I didn't bring chicken. I brought music this time. I brought a little bit of beer,
Knowledge.
and I brought some knowledge.
Yeah.
We could order some sushi. That's a fucking.
And we went out
fantastic
for crazy gourmet hot dogs at the
idea. That's true. The dude dogs.
The
You
dude
know, nothing
dogs.
says gourmet like dude dogs.
dude.
That
Dude,
just
you work out
scares
of a
me.
beer store parking lot.
Yeah.
That's
Gourmet.
There's so many things
know
you
what?
could say.
I don't really eat
Too many
meat,
jokes.
but
Too many.
I'm pretty sure I could eat one of those hot dogs and still walk away saying like I don't eat meat.
Yeah.
And
You ate lips and
They were
assholes.
good,
like,
though.
there's stuff
They
in
were good.
there, but I don't.
What were you
know.
gonna say?
Nothing. I was gonna say there's just so many jokes you could make about dude
There-
dogs.
Too many. Too many.
Yeah.
And like you see like crackheads over there that have brought back like beer bottles and stuff like that, which is
Yeah.
surprising because you think that they would be getting beer,
Yeah.
but they're getting dude dogs. So they have their whole like
Dudes know.
segment.
Yeah.
Their market, research has said,
Cracky's got to eat.
That's exactly the
That's how we
first
go
slide in the PowerPoint presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. We've done a lot of research, and here's what we've come to.
clearly Dude Dogs is not a sponsor of this show.
No.
Crackers
Yet.
gotta eat.
Yet,
It's not going to happen.
but it's an avenue we could pursue.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just I'm kind of peering through. Actually, you know what?
I
I'm
like
gonna
the
dig
dude
in-
dogs because my teeth
get
don't
Headstrong
fall
on the
out
way
in
out.
them.
Yeah, that's a fucking great idea.
You know what Headstrong failed to do, as we're old men that have haven't released a song in 10 years? We failed to really be sort of the curators of our own catalog. You can't find our stuff. We don't make it easy to find. We don't know where some of it is.
Does someone
We've
have like, all
I
your-
was trying to
does
tell
someone
you
have a bunch
this.
of 2-inch
I was
tapes
trying
in
to
their
tell you this.
basement, or-
Well, there's boxes of this and this and this and this, like in various places around.
Because
here
here's
and
the
there.
thing, there'll be a bunch of people offended by that notion. When
Yeah.
you get to like a certain level of success, there are people that'll be fanatical about that. There'll definitely be people. You're talking about 9 unreleased tracks.
Yeah.
There's someone at home right now saying, "Go fuck yourself with your unreleased tracks."
Well, they're
There's
not
some Pearl
that.
Jam fan that would slice their fucking wrist if there was 9 Pearl
Yeah.
Jam unreleased.
They're not
tracks.
all
Well, I-
good.
I was telling.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what? I have everything under the sun from Sublime. No one can listen to that shit. A bunch of crappy fucking.
Yeah.
I listen to it all the time.
Well-
20 years later, I'm every day. Oh, listen, he's gonna make this.
Yeah,
Bob Marley
exactly,
reference," And my
yeah.
wife's like, I don't care, and I'm like, listen, and it sounds like shit, and I'm just like, but I love it.
But you love it.
I fucking love it.
I was trying to tell you at the Dude Dog stand there. you know, when these types of conversations come up before the show, that I was looking on YouTube to try to find some live Headstrong.
It's impossible. It
No, I
doesn't
couldn't find
exist.
it
We
anywhere.
weren't playing to the audience that had cell phones and were watching concerts through their cell phones. We were just before all this happened. We were there right as the lightning bolt hit the
It's
ground.
funny because we were complaining about that as like something that wrecks the situation. Like, live in the moment, watch the fucking concert.
Right,
But then
right.
now, at the
Instagram.
same time, we're going like, man, I wish I could see that. I wish. All you need is one
Yeah,
person.
all you need is
if every
one.
concert just had one person.
Yeah, you just
I
need
just don't
one.
want someone with a fucking computer holding it up in front of me. You know, like this shit. You have like a 26-inch screen and you're in the
Yeah.
first row. You know, you're obviously obtrusive to.
I mean, they're a great sub-in when we can't do the lighter trick anymore because nobody fucking smokes.
Right.
But so it kind of works for that. So
I'm
as
sure
a performer,
I'm sure there's an app.
there's going to be a lighter.
Yeah, there is
There's a lighter app.
There
There
is
is
a
a
lighter
lighter
app,
app, yeah.
Good.
I
All right.
bet you there is. Hopefully, it's fucking more than or less than the cost of a good song.
Right.
It better be. It better be. Like, it better not be 99 cents.
The fart app.
Fuck the fart
Absolutely.
app.
So, all right, well, let's wrap this thing up. So, we're going to spin a Headstrong track here in a second, but before we go, we're going to sign off with this track, but I want to take an opportunity to, first off, Gary, thanks for coming in. I know you're not feeling all that well today, but
Glad to do it, buddy. Always.
I appreciate you coming in, and obviously we'll see you back here next week.
Yep.
Joel, this might be the last time I see you for some time.
We may never see each other again.
Really? Ever?
That could happen to anyone at any time.
Dude,
Well, it's
we'll-
true.
You've always got it. Every day above ground is a good
We
day.
don't hug
Yeah.
before it
And
ends.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Skype.
But truthfully, I mean, you may be gone for an extended period of time, if not indefinitely.
Well, you know, we have this.
Explain.
We'll Skype. We'll Skype
Explain.
pass.
What the hell?
Skype cast.
Yeah.
He's going to.
I'll take off out west for a little while.
I was gonna make a joke, but you ruined it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It won't work now
Make
because
it
you
up.
already blew it. No.
Fuck it. It's done. where are you going out
They
west?
could hear my stink eye.
Yeah,
they
they
could hear
can.
it. I'll fucking put that shit over the radio.
Yeah. Joel, where are you going?
I'm just going out west, man.
Yeah. Anywhere in particular?
Anywhere? You going to Saskatchewan?
No, I'm gonna go to Victoria and Vancouver for a little while. And,
Nice.
Nice.
And see what's out there.
There's
Probably,
lots.
My wife was just out
He's
there
got shit
surfing
to
in
do. Stop
Tofino.
asking questions.
Really?
Yeah.
I probably won't surf.
My brother lives
Looked
out there.
cold.
It looks cold, and there are. Have you heard about these the giant fish-like creatures that'll eat you?
I've heard of
Sharks?
You're speaking of the
They
orca.
have those. They have those. Yeah,
Yeah.
those. Yeah. Oh, ocean's full of them.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
I've heard things about the ocean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too.
forget about it. You think the ocean gives two shits about me?
Uh,
Because it doesn't.
Tell them about Headstrong.
Oh.
What is a barnacle anyway?
Barnacle's
I
like
wanna
a clam, a
I wanna
sticky
meet
clam.
one
It
of them.
sticks to the side of a ship.
Yep.
Or a
Little-
rock.
Hold on, let me take my pants off.
Little, yeah.
I don't even know
little
what that
little
means.
creature that stick comes out every once in a
No,
while.
you got a thong
Yep.
on, right?
Yeah.
The
Hit
barnacle
it.
underneath that thong. Thank you, Jason, once again.
Thank
for coming out. The photos are already up. They look
Yeah.
great.
Thanks, Jay.
And you know, once
Gary
again,
looks good.
not fat. This
Wife
time.
approved.
Yeah.
Wife approved.
Yep.
You got the thumbs up?
Wife said this one's better.
Holy shit!
And then my friend from out in BC, strangely enough, then said this is what meth looks like. This is what doing crack looks like or whatever. So
Wow.
That's right.
hey, he'll pay for that one. Thanks, Lars.
What's that?
From now until the end of the year, Jay Rhoda Photography, $50 for a session.
Yep,
You're
yep.
not going to find a better deal than that, and you will not find
A nice-
a better product
Yep.
and a result.
And a nicer guy.
It's true.
Yep.
And with a fantastic beard and a
Good time.
barnacle.
That
in
is a
his
fantastic.
thong,
When he
apparently.
Yeah.
came like 30 feet away, I was like, "Is his? It is. Wow."
Yeah. It's
He's
great
got
beard.
a.
Actually,
you can't
I want
see it
you
at
to take
Radioland,
pictures, that's
but
for
he's
sure.
got this
Yeah.
two-tone beard, as though like if you took the best bearded comic book, let's say Doctor Strange.
Ooh, yes.
As Doctor Strange matured,
Yeah.
they would want to put this beard on him.
Yep.
That's exactly what they would want.
it
Stephen
used to
Strange
be even
have.
more
Like
stepped
fuller.
than what you had
And
now.
the gray and the
Yeah,
black,
it's
the way
going.
it.
getting there.
I start growing in August. I start growing my winter beard, and usually I make it to like February. But according to the girlfriend, I'm not allowed to shave. There will be no shaving.
It's a good thing.
So we'll see how long it goes. I'm thinking March. She's saying
of 2014.
of 2013, and she said maybe July I might be allowed to trim it. but I don't know. We'll
Is
see.
there any
go
coloring,
grizzly.
any treatment happening here? Or
No,
is
it's
this
all
all natural?
I've thought about coloring it.
This is all natural.
Good
Yeah,
TV and bad
Man,
Man,
radio.
your
the
beard
gray-
is weird.
Weird beard. Oh,
The
Fu
gray and the
3
white
months.
kind of makes me feel a little old, but you know.
Are you kidding? That's the
Yeah, I'm distinguished.
weird.
I've had gray in my beard since
beard.
I've been able to grow a single hair
I
on
do
my
not have a
face.
gray hair on my head or my beard.
I think the first hair that grew on my face was gray.
We did 3 months on the road with Fu Manchu, and
Really?
I swear to God,
Fuck,
they
dude.
play that song every night. And you know, when you're on a tour of the band over time, you see the same show every night. And that was one tour of 2 tours where I never got tired of watching that show.
Yeah.
Fu Manchu every night,
Great band.
Freaking awesome.
best of the best. They are one of a kind. God love Fu Manchu. If you don't know who Fu Manchu is,
Go fuck
I'm
yourself.
sorry for you. I'm sorry for you.
No, I do know who.
Not
Fu
you.
Manchu
I'm
is.
saying the people out there
Oh,
radio.
man.
In the
What
podcast.
do you think this is?
That's American fucking metal, American rock, as American as it gets. Like
Are they back to indie now?
they just came back from Europe. Fu Manchu's. You can keep track of Fu Manchu on Twitter. They just came back from a very long American or European tour and an American tour, doing the original Action Is Go record. So they resurrected an old record and they went out and
I
toured it
love
live
that.
again.
I saw the Pixies do Doolittle in its entirety like last year.
Yeah.
So they printed up a
I
lot
saw-
of funky vinyl and
neat.
made a lot of
I saw
collector stuff.
Primus do Caesar Cheese.
Nice.
See, there you go.
Yeah, it
It's a
seems
great
to be.
evening.
Yeah, it
Although
seems to
they
be what a
did,
lot of bands are doing
they
now.
came out. The Pixies came out and did a couple songs as an encore that weren't off Doolittle, but it's good. That's a cool idea.
Hey, Fu Manchu are indie, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was asking because they were signed, right?
They
Yeah.
were, but they're all right now. I think they're.
That's
indie.
why I said, did
Yeah.
they
You
go
could
back? Are they back to indie?
I think so. I think you could spin
Yeah.
Yeah.
anything but California Crossing. That might be the only major.
You know, Blink 182 is an indie right now. Isn't that
Their
fucking
own
crazy?
You know, I don't know,
But
man.
that's still-
I don't mean any disrespect to people that like Blink 182, but you know,
No, but at the same time, it's like it's just because of that big.
That's some
that-
tight pop punk that has mass appeal, and I
Mhm.
won't say I'd sit around and listen to it, but I'm never offended when it plays. They got their own little
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
It's tight. It's punk, like with its nuts cut off.
Yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah.
what
it's not,
I mean?
it's not my bag, but
No,
Me
no.
neither. Like I'm saying, like I don't.
But
I
I
wouldn't
just-
go like I can't wait for the next album.
Yeah.
But like that drummer is fucking banging some shit. They have nice hooks, like
Yeah,
the
Travis
pop
is a great drummer.
sensibility.
If you were 11
Mhm.
and you wanted to like punk, but you really didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings either.
You don't want to
You
staple.
might-
You don't
Well,
want
I
to
mean,
staple your
hey,
face.
listen,
Right,
if
right.
you- if
you
you
might
didn't
be
know-
like, hey, here, I'm going to go punk.
Yeah.
if you didn't know Travis Barker played
Punk
in,
light.
in Blink 182 and you met this guy for the first time in the neck tattoos, you'd be like, holy shit, this guy's hard as fuck.
Yeah.
And then yeah, exactly. And then you listen to Blink 182, and I mean, it's a little soft.
Yeah.
The drumming's not. He hits pretty
No,
hard.
no, he does. But the overall sound,
No, absolutely.
it doesn't
Bubblegum.
line up with what his image is.
No, no,
That's all
true.
I'm trying to say.
But the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing for me was saying that wasn't to get everybody on the who's good or not. It was
So
just the
what's what
fact that
happens
these
naturally.
guys have sold millions and millions of records,
Oh, I get it.
and they're now an indie band because they've been
Yeah.
cut.
Yeah.
Like,
And you
'cause
know
all
what,
the-
man?
all the
Sometimes
labels-
it's the
Like,
best
you're no
place to be
longer
because then you have
relevant,
full.
sorry.
Well,
But
no,
at the
there
same
was
time,
there was
you
a
don't
big
need the middleman anymore.
No, but at the same time, there's a big purchase of 2 record companies coming together over in England. So you have like a lot of these fantastic bands, like I think it's like Depeche Mode. All these like classic bands are now independents.
So if they're
They're
smart,
still
they'll self-organize to
Exactly.
their own label.
They're
There's-
still
there's-
worth.
True.
Like Blink 182 could put out
Get
an album on
old
their own.
catalog back.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll-
There's
they'll
a lot of
collate.
old punk bands that are still going, but
Yeah.
and they don't have a label.
No, but these.
Yeah.
My point was just the fact that these guys have all the spotlight. It would just be like U2 becoming all of a sudden an
Yeah.
indie band. It's
The
like
only
they
thing you
already
hope
have
is
the
that
crowd.
They've taken their catalog with them. You look at a band like
Yeah.
Motley Crue. They've come back and they've actually managed to be one of the few bands that have. They own all their shit.
Yep.
Like that's like they had to do it. Like they were
Doc
pretty crude
McGee.
about their methods. Like they were to the point of like calling the girl that was the head of the record company like at a concert, mid concert, and be like, "Tell this cunt to give me my fucking music back." Literally, that's what they
Yeah.
were doing. Like every night, every city. Tell this fucking cunt to give us our music back, and they finally got. But so that's like almost an independent,
Yeah.
but they're making millions. It's like
I saw them in
and I
Las
think
Vegas
Blink,
this year.
Blink 182 is probably like an indie they're probably doing all right.
yeah.
They've definitely they had a 5 or 6 year run there where they could do no wrong,
Yeah, like
Hi, Siggy.
even if Jim hates them.
yeah. No, but it's insane just to think that bands of that echelon are now just being dropped by labels.
Well, I mean, this is what happens. Labels
Yeah.
merge. I mean, this is what goes back to what I was saying before. When your career is not as long as your relationship with your label, so put yourself first. Like, especially in this era, when companies collide, the presidents get fired. And that trickles down to everyone they appointed. Their VPs that they selected, those people's A&R people, those radio people they brought in, their product managers.
Totally.
Next thing you know, puddle of mud's on the street.
Next thing you know, breach of trust is on the street.
It's a whole
Headstrong's on
different
the
world,
street.
though. Like right now, we could make a fucking record in this room.
In this world
you know
now,
what I mean? Like,
yes, and that's the power of
with
the
a
new
zero
time.
budget. You know, as long as we can eat.
Well, maybe
and
zero to
get
you,
some
but I had
beer
to
in here.
spend on money on all
As long as you can
no,
keep
but I mean, like,
running
as
that
far as, like,
jiu-jitsu
the
show.
artists coming in, the artists coming in. Like if you were talking, like in the old days, you'd be buying 2-inch tape that was like $400
from
a
the
reel.
3M retail window.
You know, and all that shit. Like there was like huge costs to all this stuff.
Yep.
You know, you had to calibrate a machine in the same fucking session.
Oh, absolutely.
You
You'd
know,
have
like-
to deal with mechanical breakdowns, physical problems, not all just turn it off and on again kind of problems.
Now it's
Like
like,
real problems.
come in.
That's how I deal with everything.
You come in, knock out 2 takes, however shitty they are. If you give me 2 and Pro Tools and enough time, we're all good.
It's always
Not
easier
here.
to get it
Not
to
here.
get it on tape. It's always easier to play it right.
Not here.
Yeah, not in the purple room.
No, if you
Well, that's what you want.
And if it's not, maybe you shouldn't have booked the recording
So-
session.
That's exactly it, and that's the bane of the studio owner's existence. When you sit there watching someone and you're like, "Why are you even here?"
I'm going to take a minute to do a little shameless self-promotion. So here at the Vault Recording Studio, if you happen to be a band and you are looking for a quality recording, and at the same time you want to be able to listen back to that recording and do like I do and tap on my chest and say, "That's all me," then you need to get at me, because seriously, here our whole mantra is, we want to capture the essence of what your band is and what your sound is, but fundamentally, I pride myself on working with bands to get actual performances and not having to edit. I can edit, I can do all that fun stuff, but really, when it comes down to it, I want to capture your performance, your live performance, and I want people to hear what you actually sound like and not what you sound like edited.
Yeah.
So if
You can definitely save their ass, but
right, and I'm not going to
Don't
do that,
make it.
except for the story that I told last week about the one dude that was on heart medicine that was passed out in the chair that I
That was
slapped
awesome.
a bass on and send him out into, get in the game, buddy. And it was not a good scene.
that's
Anyway, I think it's time to wrap this up. Steve, thanks for coming. I really appreciate it.
thanks for having me.
And it goes without saying, you guys are welcome anytime. And then we're going to end this off with a little bit of Headstrong, I think, because it's my podcast and we can do that. So this is Hoodies and Hoods by Headstrong on the London Indie Underground. Good night.
Good night, people.
Good night. Lights out.
Leave me dry like swords. Leave me dying. I thought I knew you. I thought I knew you. So the sewer in the sky make the same sound. So I wonder where the wind comes from and what it whips around. I got a ton of these inadequacies. I'm down so low, the devil on the level with me. If ever known to a chorus of current laws, he make it good with the nation of hoodies and hoods. mind, and we know you had a hand in it. And it's a bunch dramatic world on a consciousness lip. I'm sick of this shit, I'm waking from the sleep. Tip. So the storm in the sky make the same sound. So I wonder where the wind comes from.